lubricant needs with propane at selected locations Monday to Friday. And don't forget, their Cardlock location is accessible 24 hours for your convenience. B&A Petroleum. Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
Dutch Ag understands that you only have about 25 days to get your crop in the ground, and you don't want to waste time messing around with openers. Start preparing for next spring seeding season now and order your Dutch openers before July 31st and save the freight. Get your ultra-low disturbance openers for your Bourgo that allow you to seed half a mile per hour faster, saving you time. And be sure to stop by and visit Dutch Ag at Ag in Motion at booth 482. DutchOpeners.com. On farm for you.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Here we go. Monday, the Sports Cage. Like the man said, it's for Kellen Solar. Anything you need solar, the good guys and girls in Lumsden, Saskatchewan can help you out. Curtis is with me in the pocket, running the show. I got to say, before we go any further on the Sports Cage, how about Don Hewitt? Last week, 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the Professor Don Hewitt sat in the seat, quarterback things, and did a fantastic job. Curtis, you were here for, I got to say to you as well, good job. Because as we found out, doing a 3-hour talk show has its ups and downs. It's tricky. Good job. How did the week go? I'm not off base here saying Don did a heck of a job.
Don did an awesome job. He took all the hurdles I threw his way, and he made it through it all, and it was a good experience. I love Don.
He had some great co-hosts, obviously Sharky on Thursday. Daryl, is it Darren or Daryl? Daryl from CTV was in Wednesday. That was solid. And then Friday, Don said, "You know what? I'm gonna take this thing solo. I'm gonna do it on my own." And great guests. Yeah, good on Don. So Don will be back in on Wednesday for you. Solid performance. So I had to get that out of the way. Kudos to Don Hewitt. The Sports Cage today. Luke Mullinder is going to be up in about 10 minutes' time. He's going to join us. We have audio, if you haven't heard, from Jonathan Taves in Winnipeg on joining the Jets. Actually really cool there. Hour 2, Ryan Pollock going to be back in, former employee of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, now the GM of the Royal Regina Golf Course. Paulie's going to join me, and we're going to chat with running backs coach from our Saskatchewan Roughriders, Andrew Harris, on the Coach's Show. Comes up every Monday. Also, we will have Wayne Kosior talking about NCAA hockey, and now we are seeing what the blockbuster finally came down today. It sounds like Gavin McKenna is going to Penn State. But talk about CIS or U Sport athletes now going down to try their hand in NCAA hockey. So I got to figure it out because I don't even know the ins and outs of it. But NCAA hockey is growing, and it's not just the major junior athletes. It's now the CIS. So there's 4 or 5 from the U of S Huskies going down. So we'll talk about that in hour 2. Hour 3, Darian Durant, as always, on Mondays for Campbell Safety Consulting. All of our guests join us via the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, all the Greek food you love, like souvlaki, ribs, and salad. The goodness you just can't make at home. Call Western Pizza today. Our sports tickers come up every hour for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina, and Steelcraft Doors Regina. And don't forget, clutch performer coming up in hour 2 as well. Curtis, be on your toes for that. Okay, so Riders back on the field today. Do we got some juicy info for you on Trevor Harris talking about his concussion, his hit that he took against Toronto? We'll get to that in a moment. But we're going to start with Coach Mace because it seems like every week, and we're into the bye week, and we're going to talk about injuries. And it's one of those things. You see a guy in a sling, out of practice. Sling's not a good thing. Could be a number of things, but let's be honest. Seeing a guy in a sling, not a good thing. So first off, Coach Mace talked about QB1, our starting quarterback, and Trevor Harris being back on the field today.
The squad's happy as ever to have him back out there and doing what he loves to do. And for me, always just for those guys, I'm just happy for them to be able to get back out there and do it. I know he don't like to miss nothing. So awesome to see.
We love to see it. We all love to see it. Trevor Harris back in the lineup. Now, I don't know where you land. Prairie Land Rentals text line always open. 936-6262. Later this hour, if you want to call in, you can. Curtis is saying, yeah, we're allowing that. It's also 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. If I read that too fast, just look it up on Google. It's there. But we had so it's basically 2 weeks off. Samuel Emelis didn't play before, so I'm sitting there thinking, he's good to go, right? Like that. What is that? Almost 4 weeks. He hasn't played. I'm like, Sam Emelis coming back after the break. He's going to be out there ripping around. Today he was there, but Coach Mace talks about him returning to action, even though he didn't take first-team reps today.
I think pretty dang close, man. He was out there today, so we'll get feedback from that, which is awesome, right? Really exciting news, and even for him, I know he's been chomping at the bit. So we'll see where that goes, but it was nice to see 1-9 out there.
See where it goes. I don't know about you, but if he's not firing today, Monday, the game is Friday. Things kind of set up. You got Wednesday? I know Thursday's the walkthrough, but maybe we're going to see Samuel Emelis sidelined again for another week. I don't know. I guess tomorrow we'll find out more. Tomorrow, even Wednesday, as we go through. Now, going back to my sling comment, anytime you see a guy in a sling, it's a guy in a crutches or girl. Never a good thing, right? You got a sling. It could be shoulder, could be an arm, immobilizing something. What's going on there? It's not good. Trevon Tate in a sling today on the sideline. I don't know. Let's hear Coach Mace on the Tate injury.
It's definitely going to probably be a little bit for us. So we'll see, man. He's been through some injury history in his previous life, and I know his work ethic. So you don't want to rule anything out with that kid. So it's good.
Going to be a little bit, and he's not showing his cards. Cards played close to the chest vest region. So, but I think we can all agree, can we not, that with those comments and him being in a sling, Trevon Tate going to be out for a while. Now, Thomas Bertrand Houdon did not participate in practice today either. Mace on him.
He's going to meet with somebody, a doc here this week, just to get a little bit clearer of a picture. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure what that holds for him potentially this week, but we'll go once we get the information from the doc.
That can throw a monkey wrench. Hey, I'm not an expert on the ratio thing. I know a lot of people out there are experts on the ratio. Smarter than me when it comes to this. I know we got to have a Canadian for Canadian. We got to do some tradesies, as they say. So with Thomas Bertrand Houdon not in, and then if Samuel Emelis isn't in, then we're going to probably work some stuff on the O-line, right? Zach Fry probably go in. The Calgary Stampeders are coming into Mosaic Friday night get your tickets. Need a big crowd there. Coming off their monumental victory in the Stampede Bowl. The trophy the coveted Stampede Bowl trophy, which we found out, wasn't it Don found out that it was made by the same people that made the Four Nations Cup trophy?
That is true.
Okay, those guys are getting work. It's big trophy year. They're out there making trophies, making their quota. Now, Mike Rose is one of the athletes getting ready for a return to his former team or playing his former team. Coach Mace was asked, did you notice any extra emotion from Mike Rose that he's facing his former team?
To be honest, nothing outside of Mike Rose, man. He's just he's a fun-loving guy. He's going to always try to find ways to have a successful game. But just for him, intrinsically, he knows, speaking to the offensive line over there, he knows those guys pretty dang good and, can provide some information for the defensive line room as far as, some of their strengths and weaknesses. But no, man, we haven't talked about it. He ain't talked about it. He just ready to go play a game.
That's right. Get some intel. We can ask Luke about that too. Coming up here in a moment. Now, for me, this was the lead story. I buried it a bit, put it at 2 because I know there's a lot of injury updates. But if we go back to that Toronto game, we remember Del Duncan Busby hits defensive back from the Argos, Kenneth George Jr. low. I said, yeah, that was dirty. That, probably didn't mean it, but still. Dirty play, no call initially on the field. CFL replay center, they jumped in, legal block. So after George Jr. taken off the field on a cart, Argos defensive lineman Jordan Williams, if you watch it, he's talking to Trevor Harris and he shakes his hand. Pairs, obviously they're talking about something. You just don't shake someone's hand usually and not say anything. You're an absolute weirdo if you do. So you're shaking hands and says something to Harris. What was that? We don't know. On the next play, Williams hits Harris high, right? We saw that. We all got that. Okay, we got that. Penalized for unnecessary roughness. Eventually fined by the league. Some loon dogs and toonies going back to the league. Now, Harris talks about we're gonna hear from him. First off, he's asked, did the concussion symptoms come after the game?
I knew something was going on during the game, and shoot, during the game when the other defense tells you they're about to do something and they do it, maybe you should believe them that they did it on purpose. And it was an unfortunate situation, that their linebacker got hurt, and I know their guys were, wanting to do something about it, and just unfortunate that. I was like, man, I don't know. Just hopefully nothing happens. Let's just play good physical football, and then that happens. But, it happened during the game. I felt it. I knew I was a little bit dazed. But at the same time, I had a pretty bad virus. I still, kind of have little trickles of it. It's like a 4-week deal. And so I wasn't really sure what was the virus, but I knew after the game and during the game I was a little bit fuzzy. But I felt good enough to execute, and I don't condone what I did in terms of, standing there. But it's no fault of the team, no fault of the docs. I didn't report anything. I wanted to stay through and grind it out, and was able to get a win, and so thankful to Mario and the special teams, one of those historic type plays, but just glad we were able to get the win.
All right, now the handshake, the Kenneth George Jr. handshake, Trevor Harris. Then he goes and hits him. Somewhat dirty. Let's be honest. Here's Harris on if something was said to him.
I think it was just one of those things they wanted to get even for their guy, and unfortunately, I felt awful for George, and he's a great player, and it's just an unfortunate situation, and I don't think that, who knows if it was on purpose. I'm not saying that. I'm not accusing him, but just, felt like, I didn't really feel like it was a clean one, but it is what it is, and I don't think he's a dirty player. He's a good football player, and just an unfortunate situation.
We can talk for Trevor. We can speak for Trevor. It was dirty. He knew exactly what he was going to do. Eye for an eye. I'm kind of an eye for an eye guy, so I can't judge, right? It's, but Trevor knows. He said he was going to hit him, and he went and hit him. Concussion. out for a game. Fined. The man's name is Jordan Williams. So when he comes to town, curious what Rider Nation is going to have planned for him. Let's go to break. When we come back, Luke Mullinder standing by, our color commentator, the Rider Broadcast Network. Let's get Luke's take on all this and the injuries and the bye week and a whole lot more. Standing by, it is a Sports Cage. Always have your say. Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. It is for Kellen Solar. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Rider, 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
Busy week at 2sauctioneers.ca in Indian Head. We have the off-site Delorme Estate Auction in St. Victor closing on Monday. That includes a Bobcat, side-by-side, garden tractors, furniture, and more. Then on Tuesday the 15th, we got a huge sale of glassware, collectible sports cards, and a huge record collection from one guy. Some very odd and unusual ones in there. Easy to register, easy to bid, and it's all here on display at our location in Indian Head. Come check it out. 2sauctioneers.ca, online auction house in Indian Head.
Summers in Saskatchewan can get toasty. Be ready with a new Bryant air conditioner from Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Bronco's Bryant air conditioners are tariff-free and in stock. When Bronco installs your new Bryant air conditioner, they'll only send qualified, courteous, professional tradespeople who will do the job right, including the cleanup. For a tariff-free Bryant air conditioner, call Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, 781-2090, or visit broncoplumbing.com. They'll treat you right.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 140,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 plus standard installation is included. For all your hot water needs,
call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 5050 is presented by ISC.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Start counting the days. Country Thunder Saskatchewan is almost here with Jason Aldean, Def Leppard, and Bailey Zimmerman.
You're the last thing that
Plus Nate Smith, Tyler Hubbard, Kip Moore, Tim Hicks, and many more. All your favorite artists together on one stage. Experience Country Thunder Saskatchewan in Craven, July 10th to 13th. Tickets at countrythunder.com.
Farming is a balance of managing risks, markets, and weather. Not all risks are the same. Some may impact one aspect of the business, while others may affect multiple areas. AgriStability operates under a model which considers the combination of risks and their impact on the overall profitability of the farm. The AgriStability enrollment deadline for the existing program is extended for the 2025 program year to July 31st, 2025. For more information, visit scic.ca.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
For Kellen Solar, anything you need solar, whether it's for the livestock operation, the home, the cottage, farm, Kellen Solar, local guys and girls in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Let's go to the Western Pizza guest hotline. I teased it. He's been standing by patiently. Our man, color commentator on the Rider Broadcast Network, Luke Mullinder, is on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza, where you make bets and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Hey, is that a bye-week beard? What do you got? You're growing? Was that the plan?
No, man, I actually don't know where this is going. You know, I've left it around for a while. It's been convenient because I'm in and out a lot of meetings. So, you know, not having to take the time to shave or whatever has been saving me, 20 minutes here and there. So we'll figure this out.
What if you're not watching the stream, Luke's got he's got some good growth. What's the longest have you ever had a long beard?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've done the beard before. It's not at the length it was at the time, but I have a feeling it's going to get back there.
Man, that's itchy. It just looks itchy.
No, brother. You gotta do it right. I got some beard oil. I've got
nice.
Conditioner routine for it, right? Like, yeah, you can't just, if you're gonna have a beard, it just can't have like food, all through it and bugs and stuff. You got to keep it clean.
I've never had one. I can easily grow a beard, obviously. I've had a mustache, and that is a sight. If me with a muzzer, it's class. It gets itchy though.
I've never just had a mustache. Well, actually, I have, but I didn't like it.
Okay, let's get into. We can get back in the beard thing. You got to keep that growing. We'll get a beard update every week. The Trevor Harris comments. You were standing by when we played it. I don't know how much you're with the team. You're with the guys and all that. What's your take on everything? Jordan Williams, the handshake before, what he said to them. You're a former defensive guy, Luke. How do you wrap it all up?
Well, it was definitely a late hit that Trevor got. But as far as all the extracurricular conversations that were going on during the plays before and then the plays after, I've never really been involved in a situation where they're like, okay, yeah, you got something coming to you, and then the team actually carries it through. I mean, you gotta remember that. I mean, there's far more things. You can't just go out and exact revenge the next play. You've got to have the right play call, right? You've got to have things have got to work out. You got to win your pass rush move or whatever it is. So I felt like that was just a defensive line stunt called at the right time. I'm not sure if they called it. Any coach that calls a defensive line stunt other than trying to get the ball out or sack the quarterback. If you call a defensive line stunt to hurt the opposing quarterback, you're not going to be a very successful defensive coordinator moving forward, right? So I'm not sure where we fall on the malicious side. I think the tempers were running hot, and the Toronto Argonauts, they executed a defensive line stunt that worked out for them. It was just a little bit late.
Do you think Jordan Williams kind of takes that on his own? Do you think he goes rogue on this?
No. Oh. During the play? Yeah, maybe, right? Maybe. I mean, again, tempers are running high. The Argos aren't a very good football club right now in the first 4 weeks, right? And that probably has a lot. I mean, it wasn't like they were playing well that game either, right? So I'm sure that there was a lot of emotions and things go into it. I mean, the problem with it on the Rider Nation side is you lose your quarterback for one game. Fortunately, it was before the bye week, and he's back and he's practicing, but could have been a lot worse. Glad it wasn't.
I can't be hypocritical because, like I said, I'm an eye for an eye guy a lot of times. Maybe it's
You're
not the
a
right
hockey guy, though, man. That's how those guys work. You guys are crazy, man. You guys are literally. I've never seen a sport. I mean, you got like if something happens to one of the marquee guys, both coaches make the decision to put the fourth lines out and just figure it out from there. That's hockey's crazy like that.
I was gonna say maybe it's maybe at times I could be accused of it's not the right parenting. Also, because it trickles down where Mrs. S is definitely not an eye for an eye. She's a forgiving person where I'm like, I don't know. No, and for Trevor to kind of massage the words the way he does, but that handshake and what was said there, he probably knew something was coming. Again, going back to hockey or football or whatever. A lot of times you use the the words, you use the verbal terrorism to just get in the person's kitchen. It might never happen. It might never, but to your point, it happens the next play. Trevor probably knew he had to keep his head on a swivel if possible.
Well, look at the play that we're talking about. I mean, that's just a defensive line coming back underneath and going and getting a, albeit late hit on the quarterback. But if it's blocked up, he doesn't even get there, right? It's the whole thing about when, when I remember in 2014, the Riders lost Darian Durant to injury, right? And at that time it was like, oh, it was malicious, it was this, it was that. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, I mean, the first point of emphasis is probably we got to block a little bit better, right? So again, I don't know if, and I'm not saying that the blocking was the reason why Trevor Harris got hurt. I'm just saying that there was a lot more that went into that play. It wasn't just somebody like hanging around and then as soon as the ball's thrown, like waiting till everybody else left and then getting a cheap shot on Trevor Harris. He did it pretty close to within the rules.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. What are you making of Samuel Emilus? And he's out there today, but not participating full. This is obviously worse than we thought 3 weeks ago. What are you making there?
Yeah, anytime you have a player miss the game and then the bye week, it's obviously a little bit more concerning. I think that I was not heartbroken, but I was really upset and disappointed to hear that Trayvon Tate was in a sling today. He's been one of my favorite riders to watch in this very young season. So I'm just hoping that Sam Emilus can, A, get healthy, but more importantly, when you look at the game plan and you look at some of the things that the Riders have done well, he's been a critical piece and he's made some big plays, but they've also won without him. Right, and that's where I think, again, all credit goes. Last game, I mean, it seems like eons ago now, against the BC Lions, one of the things that I said after the game was one of the unsung heroes was Mark Mueller. I thought he called a great game. We had a backup quarterback in there. Granted, the backup quarterback had a ton of experience, but I thought Mark Mueller did the best he could to put that quarterback in winning situations and in situations where he couldn't get the team in trouble, where he could just manage his way through. And I think that that's what you got to do at Calgary. Calgary's going to come in here. They look very good, especially up front. But again, you're going to have to build the pieces around this offense. So we're going to need a good run game. We're going to need some quick hitters, and then hopefully we can get the field stretching plays that we're used to seeing from Sam Emilus. It just happens to be that we'll have to get them from somewhere else.
It sounds like Thomas Bertrand-Houdon, we got an injury there. If I was betting, if I was wagering, and probably saying he's not going this week, which would open up the Kadeem Carey if they can figure out the ratio maybe on the offensive line there. I don't think we miss a beat then come running game, and it's just another thing for Calgary to prepare for.
Yeah, so I think that we got to remember when Trayvon Tate checked out, they went into their injury situation or their injury lineup from that point on. They had to adjust a couple things. They had to adjust the original front five, and then they had to figure out if they were going to use their big tight end set that Zach Fry was usually the tight end in. They had to figure out who was going to play that tight end spot again. I mean, they've had a week and something to prepare now to where they knew that Tate was not going to be around. So I would imagine that Zach Fry probably gets the start at left guard, and then they go from there. But again, Fry's played a lot of football, and you're right. You're going to have to win up front. The one thing, I didn't see all of the Calgary game. I saw a lot of it. The one thing, though, that I did that was notable was in successful offensive plays or successful defensive plays for the Calgary Stampeders, they were playing really well up front. Their offensive line and their defensive line were playing physically dominating football. So you're going to have to come into this game with a little bit of that 2008, 2009, 2010 attitude when Calgary was at its height and playing incredibly well up front. I mean, you look at some of the throws that Vernon Adams was able to make last week, there was a ton of time there that he had to sit in the pocket and go through his progressions. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to have to figure their way through that. Up front, again, you're going to have to run the football. Let's continue to get our quarterbacks in manageable situations, right? 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6.
The bye week, going back to your playing days, does it vary for guys? Would some guys have scrammed 4th of July weekend down south, right? Like, let's be honest, that's next level stuff. Fireworks, here we go. A lot of guys would they have gone out of town? Do you think? You know how did you handle it back in your playing days?
Yeah, it depends. It depends when the bye week fell, right? I think that if the bye week fell a little bit later on in the season, guys would try to stick around, and obviously you were thinking about playoff runs at that point. I would think, or I would assume that a lot of guys had probably gone home this bye week just because it was the first major break since training camp began for this team, right? They had a couple days here and there, but nothing extensive. So I think that guys probably would have capitalized on an opportunity to get home and seeing their loved ones here this week, and maybe save. I mean, you remember too, here's the other thing. I didn't get 3 bye weeks when I was playing in the league, right? And we only got 2. So you probably would assume that one of these bye weeks that's going to come up. I mean, you've got 4 games now till your next one. You'll still be in summertime there. Does that equate to maybe a team fishing trip for the fellas that stay back in Saskatchewan? And then the last one that's prior to playoffs and everything else, that would be one I would also anticipate a lot of folks staying around and getting ready to make a run. And with the way the Saskatchewan Roughriders are taking advantage of their opportunity, opportunities so far, hopefully it's a championship run.
You know a good fishing lodge? Is he trying to pitch something here for the fellas, or?
Well, listen, I don't know. I know 2 things. I know every time our teams went on a fishing trip, it was one of the best things that we could have done for the guys in terms of team bonding. You want to get as close as possible, especially in Saskatchewan, right? There's not a lot of things to do in Regina. I know everybody always gets butthurt when people say that, but like, come on, guys, we're not going to the hookah lounge every Friday. Like, it gets cumbersome, you know. So the more guys can take advantage of like getting out and getting away and being together while doing that, those were probably the best team building exercises that we went through. And the other thing around that is that it didn't matter what fishing trip we went on, nobody would catch a fish other than Neil Hughes, so the Métis Missile. So he was always our guy in being the fishing guide. No, seriously, everybody would go out in a boat. Nobody would catch anything. The rest of them would just stay back playing beer pong or whatever. And then Neil's turn to go in the boat would come. He would go out, come back with like 15 fish, and piss everybody off. He was magic, man. He still is.
Knows what he's doing. Hey, I want to go to the Prairie Land Rentals text line here because Kelly texted in, and I don't know. I've actually wondered this myself because it's changed so many times. It changes from league to league. I don't know the rule. He wants to know, can you tell me the rule when a player takes his helmet off on the field to play? I thought that was a penalty. Do you know what the current rule is?
I think that if a player gets his helmet removed, he's got to try to stop himself from playing. And if he doesn't, that's a penalty. I believe that's a penalty if you take your helmet off in the field of play while something's happening, normally a fracas. But I'm pretty sure that is a penalty if you remove your helmet.
That's what I thought.
Aggressively, and go from there.
Okay, let's close. You mentioned it a bit. What did you make of the last week in the CFL? Hey, I don't think a lot of people had Calgary laying that on Winnipeg. Edmonton's in the win column, although they kind of Vernon Adams. I won my bet under Ford being out. BC. Narrowly over Montreal in Montreal. What did you make of the week?
Well, I felt like obviously or scoring in general seems to be up right now. I'm not sure what the stat is, right? I'm not sure about offensive scoring, but I know scoring's up. And the reason I bring that up is teams have got to tighten up on special teams. You're seeing all sorts of game changing plays, and Saskatchewan's been great because of this, but you're seeing all sorts of field flipping plays on special teams. So teams have to tighten up there. One of the other things that I've seen, and I mentioned it in Calgary, there's been some good offensive line play, especially when it comes to protecting the quarterback. And I know that if you look over probably the last couple of years, sacks have been down a little bit. But this year, it just seems like some of these plays the quarterbacks are making are really set up by just fantastic offensive line play. So that's why I'm probably looking forward to Calgary, Saskatchewan the most. I'm not sure what the power rankings are right now. I'm sure it's probably Calgary and Saskatchewan being 1 and 2. But more importantly, the reason this reminds me of a game that potentially feels like one of those back in the day games when Joffrey Reynolds and John Cornish and Calgary were running the football really well. I think that we've got two offensive lines that are going to be battling for bragging rights after Friday. I'm excited about it, man. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm glad to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form.
So you're thinking Calgary, even though they did lay it out. That Calgary's a better football team than Winnipeg. Would you rank them like that right now?
Well, yeah. Well, who has Winnipeg over Calgary right now after that? Nobody, right? And by the way, I know that it was the cool thing to do to make fun of like the Calgary, the trophy game that they did, the Stampede. I think that's I thought it was a great idea. I love the Stampede Bowl idea, and here's why I love it. I come from Michigan State University. We had like 4 trophy games back in the day with Michigan State. We had the Tin Cup, we had the brass spittoon, we had a trophy game obviously with Little Brother, the school down the road. We had the megaphone games with Notre Dame, Penn State. We had a trophy game. Like, those games just mean so much more as a youngster when you're playing in college. And I think that that's what the CFL or the intent was, to emulate some of that feel for the Canadian Football League. I'm so tired of folks just sort of crapping on the creative ideas that we're trying to expand to in the Canadian Football League. Like, some of them may seem corny, but man, like, we're trying, right? We're trying as a league, and I'm not sure what people want. Do you just stop trying altogether so you can get a better reaction on social media? Or do you go out? Do you think outside the box? I thought it was a great idea. I loved it.
I didn't even think
but
about it.
But I don't think Calgary's not better. I think Calgary is far and away better than Winnipeg right now. I mean, the scoreboard showed it.
Yeah, there's trap games.
That's two pick sixes. Listen, that Winnipeg team has been to like 4 Grey Cups in a row. There's no trap games with it. They've been there, done that. They've seen every situation. They knew what they were walking into at McMahon Stadium or whatever they call it these days. And they knew that was going to be listen, if anybody knows the teams get up for trophy games, it's Winnipeg. Because that Banjo Bowl trophy, that thing is like the Lord of the Rings ring to Gollum for them. Right? Saskatchewan, we sit here and we're like, oh no, the game doesn't mean anything. When they win that game, the Labor Day game, Willie Jefferson is parading that trophy around like it's the Stanley Cup. So if any team in the Canadian Football League knew what it meant to Calgary that game, it was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And they did not match the energy that Calgary brought, and the score showed it. So of course Calgary is over Winnipeg right now. I'd be shocked if anybody else had Winnipeg over Calgary in any type of power ranking standings.
We know when there's a trophy on the line, though. The Bombers lately, sometimes they just don't show up. I don't know.
Oh, man. I think that Banjo Bowl trophy, though, man, they go crazy for that. I've been there. I see they bring it out early, right? Especially, right? And man, the first thing they do when that game over is Willie Jefferson beelines into that stupid Banjo Bowl trophy and then parades it around like it's the Stanley Cup, like it's a newborn child.
See, I got to see. I guess I'll see Friday. I'll see Friday if I'm buying this Calgary stock. Because,
me too.
Because
that's the best part.
Last year, Saskatchewan was a much better team than Edmonton. Edmonton came in here and beat us. That's
listen,
weird.
It's what they say. It's any given football Saturday or Sunday, right? Or in this case, Friday. Any given Friday, you got to come out and you got these guys. And that saying, right, Barney? These guys get paid too. Right? Like everybody's a professional, and it's early on in the season. Anything can happen, right? And I think that what's nice is we're seeing the West just being really competitive. We're hoping the East comes along as well, right? You hope that that Montreal can get their starting quarterback back and get back on the hop. But right now, I mean, we've seen some good football, and that's all we can hope for. And I think that Friday has got potential to be one of the best games of this first third of the year.
I'm looking forward to seeing the tarp. You got the nicest tarps in the league, and but now you got to match the tarp with the beard. So I'm very curious how you're gonna do that.
Right. You know what? I have to consider that. I might have to go over to Colin O'Brien's and tell Aaron to get me something that blends in a little bit with the silverback beard I got going. I'll figure it out, man. I won't let you down, Barney.
You keep it going. You got to keep it going now, right? We're on a winning streak.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Now it's like the Stanley Cup playoffs, right? Now it's just like,
I love it. All right, buddy. Thanks for doing this. Have a good call. Right. Have a good week.
See you then.
Right on. Luke Mullinder, color commentator on our Rider Broadcast Network. That beard. I want to see how long it can get. Man, beards strike me as very itchy. You had a beard, didn't you, Curtis?
Yeah.
What happened to it? When did you get rid of it? I just noticed that.
I shaved it because it was itchy.
There we go. Keep the text coming, 936-6262. See, Luke was a big fan of the Stampede Bowl. It kind of does remind me of all those college games. You brought up a good point there. I didn't even think of that. We'll go to break here. We come back. We got more on the Riders, a little bit of hockey talk. It is a Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com.
Everyone loves to win. And now is your chance to win with the Regina Pats. Buy your Flex Pack by July 31st and enter to win a Pats prize pack. That includes a team-signed jersey, team photo, 4 Flex vouchers, and more. Get your Flex Pack by July 31st and enter to win with the Regina Pats. Flex your fandom and win big, because everybody loves to win.
Go, Pats, go!
Get your Flex Pack today at reginapats.com. That's reginapats.com.
What's going on in the markets? When is the right time to invest? What should you do with your money today? When Linda had questions, she talked to Brian Golly.
He's always well prepared and has answers for us. We take it as gospel, and he's led us down the right path so far.
You don't have to plan your financial future alone. Call Brian Golly of Smart Investing Solutions. 306-546-2533.
We would recommend Brian anytime, and we would recommend him to anybody.
Hello? Is there anybody that could help me with some lumber for some projects this summer?
If you find yourself needing assistance but talking to nobody, then you're definitely not at Freeze Tallman, where they even know you by name. You're not just a number. They'll answer all your questions if you have a decking, railing, or fencing job on the horizon this year. They'll even deliver. Shop local. Freeze Tallman in Regina and Fort Capel.
Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all, $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Calling all skilled heavy-duty mechanics. Core Industrial Services has an exciting opportunity for you. They're hiring a full-time heavy-duty mechanic to join them at their 9,000-square-foot shop in Rocanville, Saskatchewan. As a heavy-duty mechanic, you're responsible for performing maintenance and repairs on a wide range of equipment, from heavy machinery to light trucks and more. At Core Industrial Services, they believe in the power of teamwork. Apply today on their website at coreindustrial.ca or call them at 306-745-4844. Core Industrial Services, where expertise meets opportunity. Apply now.
If you have a garage door that's running a little rough, you should really have Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists, come out and repair it, or it may need to be replaced altogether. Yeah, just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in the business for many, many years, because they can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Honey, calling Busy Bee.
Good idea. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. From skid steers to tents to power tools, anything you need to rent for that summer job is at Prairie Land Rentals. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. Sportscage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com, on our YouTube channel, and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports, 620 CKRM.
See, I'm not crazy. Luke was saying that Calgary easily power ranking higher than Winnipeg. I gotta see more. I gotta see more Calgary, and maybe it is this Friday. I don't want to see it, but like week 1 and 2, Calgary didn't look good. And I get it's football. It's, however many weeks, depends what league you play in. It takes time, and teams got to gel. Teams got to come together. But Calgary, I don't know. Ray in Swift Current says, what's Luke drinking? Calgary is not better than Winnipeg. How about Greg up in Saskatoon, Arcade Pac-Man world champion? Calgary isn't good. We're going to stomp them on Friday. Maybe we're missing something. I did watch Calgary play Ottawa a bit just because of that game the weather was so bad in that game. I had to watch it. The game before, man, Calgary didn't look emotional. What do you got over there?
Oh, I was gonna say, how can you pit Winnipeg over Calgary in any kind of power rankings when they got absolutely clobbered by them? Both teams are 3-1, but one team has a win over the other.
I know. If you're going on recency bias, or if they're going off the head-to-head, which just happened.
Yep.
Okay. But I feel you gotta go a little bit deeper. Are we forgetting that Ottawa beat them 20-12? Calgary? Ottawa? Ottawa hasn't looked very good. But then again, Calgary did beat Hamilton. Yeah, and they put up 29 on Toronto. In Toronto as well. I don't know, though. I don't know if I'm buying the stock that Calgary's. If it was right now and somebody said, who finishes higher this season? You got to put down a sprinkle, whatever you want. Calgary or Winnipeg?
I'd probably pick Winnipeg.
See? Because you think Winnipeg's a better team.
Yeah.
As a whole, if you're looking at, everything, the full season, where they have been, I don't know. I could be wrong. Calgary could be amazing. I haven't watched every single Calgary Stampeder game, every minute of every game. I know they got some. They got some solid players. They have some of our guy. They got great Huffnagel. I don't want to bet against that guy. Never. Vernon Adams Jr. Yeah, he can.
When they're hot, it seems like. And
it's like anybody, though.
Yeah, and when they're not, they're not.
You and I are awesome at things when we're hot. I don't know what.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens. Coach Mace today talks about how they will stop or try to stop Vernon Adams Jr.
Tough. I mean, he's been doing it a long time. He can beat you in a couple different ways. Just over the history, coaching against him. he's had games where he's ruined it with his legs, and he's had games where he sat in the pocket and delivered. So, they obviously felt strongly about bringing him in, and you can understand why. But certainly, we're going to stick to kind of our game plan, what we see this week, and not putting too much emphasis on trying to eliminate one guy. It's just we're 12, they're 12. We just got to make sure we do our part.
Zach and Saskatoon's agreeing with Luke. Winnipeg's time is done. Calgary is a better team. All right. Again, everybody, hey, your opinion's your opinion. I'm thinking right now, maybe by the end of the year, we could be eating crow here. Maybe Calgary is the better team. But I still take Winnipeg right now, even though they had lost the inaugural Stampede Bowl. And Luke likes the Stampede Bowl. That's whatever. Hey, it's a CFL. Get them talking. That's the other thing I heard a lot of over the last week. But they're talking about the CFL. You go to a bad restaurant and you get treated like garbage and you see cockroaches on the floor and everyone's talking about it. Was that good publicity for that restaurant? No.
I think Luke just wanted to wear a hat like Suits and Nielsen.
Oh, look at those Cowboys.
Yeehaw.
Nice. Break time. It is the Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com. That's where you get to see the video and then the cool things like Luke's beard and Curtis's graphics. But if not, you can pick us up on the radio. 620 CKRM.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Friday is game day as the Riders take on the Calgary Stampeders. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Duncan, Tegan Whitco's at 4. The pregame show's at 6. And kickoff with Luke Mullinder and I is at 7. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by the Cooperators, Saskatchewan Party Caucus, and Vaterstad. Stream every moment of Rider football at sportscage.com.
Here at Young's Equipment, your local Case IH dealer, we want you to put the very best into your machine so that you can get the very best out of your machine. Choose to use Case IH genuine parts. Only Case IH genuine parts are specifically engineered to fit and function perfectly with your Case IH equipment. They deliver the performance your business demands while giving you the durability your schedule depends on. So when you want to maximize your performance, go with the original, Case IH genuine parts. To find Case IH genuine parts, visit Young's Equipment Incorporated.
Busy week at 2sauctioneers.ca in Indian Head. We have the off-site Delorme Estate Auction in St. Victor closing on Monday. That includes a bobcat, side-by-side, garden tractors, furniture, and more. Then on Tuesday the 15th, we got a huge sale of glassware, collectible, sports cards, and a huge record collection from one guy. Some very odd and unusual ones in there. Easy to register, easy to bid, and it's all here on display at our location in Indian Head. Come check it out. 2sauctioneers.ca, online auction house in Indian Head.
Dan from Croft Electric explains why he is passionate about doing rural electrical work.
We are rural. I live on an acreage. I have 5 horses. I ride horses every weekend. We're rural. We want to be the one you think of when you're looking around your yard and you see something that's not electrically not right. We will come to your farm, wherever it is.
Croft Electric.
Do it right. Do it once.
CroftElectric.com.
The future of farming is at Ag in Motion. Explore Ag in Motion's 2025 Innovations Program, presented by Connexus Credit Union. From agronomics to business solutions, sustainability, equipment, livestock, and more, this program highlights the next big innovations that will shape Canadian agriculture. Join us near Langham, Saskatchewan on July 15th to 17th. Get your tickets online at aginmotion.ca.
Since 1942, Unifor 594 has safely served the community and the ever-changing energy sector. We are the unionized workers at the Co-op Refinery in Regina and the Co-op Ethanol Complex in Belle Plaine. We are process operators, tradespeople, lab techs, warehouse workers, tank car loaders, administration staff, and so much more. Unifor 594 workers are also your neighbors, your friends, your volunteers, your community. Unifor 594. Safety is our business.
It's It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. For all your hot water needs, call on Reliance Heath today.
Rider news, they're back on the practice field today, and they signed American offensive lineman Nick Jones. Spent 2024 season with the Roughriders, suiting up for 6 games. Javon Tate, injury sounds longer than expected. Thomas Bertrand-Houdon not participating in practice today, and Sam Emilus did not take first team reps. WCBL tonight, Regina's in Weyburn. Saskatoon, the East leaders, they host Moose Jaw. How about the Blue Jays? They're first in the AL East. They're in Chicago. They're on an 8-game heater. And the SJHL has renamed their Northern Division. It'll be called the UPL North Division. That is your sports ticker in hour 1. For Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, keeping you in hot and soft water, call on Reliance. Sportscage will continue in hour 2. We got the Coaches Show coming up with Andrew Harris, and we have Ryan Pollock joining us. It's Cage on 620 CKRM.
From the towers to the tractors, country's greatest hits. 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news. Saskatchewan's Ministry of Health wants to make working conditions better for Regina hospital doctors after an outside review showed room for improvement. The report, done by medical leaders from Ontario and Nova Scotia, gave 14 recommendations for the Health Authority, the Medical Association, and the University of Saskatchewan's College of Medicine. Some changes have already started, like changing leadership roles and launching an anti-racism plan. Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says the goal is a safe, positive workplace that benefits both staff and patients. Saskatchewan's government has announced $20 million to support communities hurt by this year's wildfires. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency's Recovery Task Team is leading the effort, working with ministries and Crown corporations. The top needs include removing debris and cleaning up sites. Most of the funds will be delivered through the Provincial Disaster Assistance Program. The money will help communities and people who suffered losses during the wildfire emergency period. A 53-year-old man in Estevan has been charged with possessing child pornography after a joint investigation by Estevan Police and the Saskatchewan Internet Child Exploitation Unit. He was arrested and later released with conditions after seeing a justice of the peace. He's set to appear in court on August 18th. His name has not been released yet. Most of the more than 1,000 hail reports across Western Canada in the second half of June came from Saskatchewan. Tyson Rorachuk, the president of the Canadian Crop Hail Association, says most of the reports came after a string of tornadoes that occurred on June 19th.
Anywhere from Regina and east and south and east of Estevan, Frobisher area, those kind of areas in that we've had a lot of claims, but notable also would be Rosetown to Plenty area, Neilburg area, Shaunavon area, and Nokomis over to Lanigan. Finally, the other one that has received a fair bit of hail as well is Ituna, so north of Fort Capel.
The size of hail ranged from pea-sized to toonie-sized. Regina's average gas price dropped slightly last week, falling 0.3 cents per litre to $1.29.93 cents, according to Gas Buddy. The national average also dipped 0.4 cents to $1.34.85 cents per litre. Compared to last year, Regina drivers are paying 26 cents less per litre. Gas Buddy says oil production increases by OPEC and calmer weather should mean lower pump prices for Canadians in the weeks ahead if conditions stay steady. TikTok says it's pulling out as a sponsor of several Canadian arts institutions, including the Juno Awards and the Toronto International Film Festival, as it prepares to comply with a federal order to shut down operations in Canada. Among the casualties is the National Screen Institute's TikTok Accelerator for Indigenous Creators that has worked with nearly 400 participants since 2021. Sarah Simpson Yellowquill, the program's manager, says the shutdown is a sad loss of opportunity for Indigenous creators.
You know, I did find out early this week from my executive director that the program wouldn't be running again, and it was sad and disheartening for sure, because again, it's always great to be able to see the growth that has happened within the programs that we've been delivering and the interest from the Indigenous community across Northern Turtle Island.
TikTok Canada says it's challenging the order in court and pushing the government to find a better way forward. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC.
Calling all skilled heavy-duty mechanics. Core Industrial Services has an exciting opportunity for you. They're hiring a full-time heavy-duty mechanic to join them at their 9,000 square foot shop in Rocanville, Saskatchewan. As a heavy-duty mechanic, you're responsible for performing maintenance and repairs on a wide range of equipment, from heavy machinery to light trucks and more. At Core Industrial Services, they believe in the power of teamwork. Apply today on their website at coreindustrial.ca or call them at 306-745-4844. Core Industrial Services, where expertise meets opportunity. Apply now.
Weather brought to you by Line X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks. 1865 McCarra Street. Weather tonight, clearing and a low down to 10 degrees. Tomorrow we're looking at sunshine and a high of 27. Wind southeast 15 to 25. Nice day tomorrow. Tomorrow night, clear and a low of 16. Looking at Wednesday, sunshine and hot. A high of 33 degrees on Wednesday. Thursday, the start of country thunder in the valley. Partly sunny, chance of showers, maybe at night, only 20% though, and a high of 24. And Friday, partly sunny and a high of 22.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Hey, let's hit up Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Pump? You talking about my basketball shoes?
No, Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Who?
Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. They're open now. They've got a large selection of local draft and food and drink specials. Kids are allowed until 8. There's live entertainment every weekend.
Let's go. I'm pumped.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back, hour 2 of the Sports Cage for Kellen Solar. If you're watching the stream, he's back. Who's this Johnny come lately? Ryan Pollock's back co-hosting. It's nice to have company. Thanks for making some time.
Yeah, you betcha. Happy to be back.
It's golf season. I know you're busy.
Yeah.
But you said Mondays for this month. You can kind of twirl by on Mondays since Maz is gone.
Yeah, later Mondays work. We got we're busy with corporate tournaments and that, but they're out on course doing their thing, so I can sneak away for a couple of hours before they wrap up.
Got to give this shout out. Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation 50-50. Riders5050.ca. Before the game, you're going to get your tickets anyway. You might as well get into the early bird prize. Wednesday at 5 p.m. is the cutoff. Get this one. AC/DC in Scotland. Includes flights from Saskatchewan to Edinburgh. 4 nights, hotel accommodations, 2 tickets to see AC/DC on August 21st. Tour from Edinburgh to Loch Ness or day trip to see the Scottish Highlands. Round trip transfers from airport to hotel. Or you can take $85.50 cash. That's a good one.
I'm taking the trip.
Yeah.
I'm taking the trip all day. I think it would be over the top to see AC/DC.
Have you been to Edinburgh?
No.
It is fun. You would like it.
Oh,
Taverns.
Yeah.
The castle.
Yeah.
And then you get to see AC/DC. How many chances do you have left to see AC/DC?
Yeah.
It's like Def Leppard coming Sunday to Country Thunder. Like, how many chances do you really have left to see Def Leppard?
Yeah, it's time's a waste. And it would be over the top seeing AC/DC there in Scotland. Come on. That'd be fantastic. Great price.
You got till Wednesday at 5 p.m. Riders5050.ca. Good stuff. All right, let's get into the Coaches Show.
It's time for the Sportscage Riders Coaches Show for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Get your 50-50 tickets now for all Rider home and away games. Riders5050.ca and Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Joining us today, Coach Andrew Harris, running backs coach of our Saskatchewan Roughriders. Still sounds weird, Andrew. Sorry, I gotta say it. Is it become more comfortable for you, or sometimes it's still weird for you that you're wearing that logo and you're coaching over here?
Yeah, honestly, after training camp was over, well, actually, no, first couple of days of training camp, it definitely felt a little strange, a little awkward, but I've been fitting in seamlessly. The role has been something that has been a seamless transition as far as being on the coaching side of things. The big thing is prepping the guys the way I would prep as a player, seeing the game, helping the game slow down, and but yeah, just wearing the green and white is definitely an adjustment. I know when I first got my bag of coaching stuff, I had a bunch of black in there, so I was wearing that first, and then it was laundry day, and I threw on the green sweater for the first time, and I was like, what the heck is this? But no, it's awesome, man. It's great to be here. Great fan base. The facilities are awesome, and I'm happy to be wearing green for sure.
You talk about prepping guys the way you would have prepped. Now, going back, played in the league a long time, been around a lot of running backs yourself. Would you say that you prep, I guess, your prep was common, or did you do a lot of things that were different?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really ran into a running back that looked or prepped the way I did. I mean, I don't look at myself as the most athletic, the fastest, strongest, quickest guy out there. My edge was always, the mental prep and seeing things before they happen, anticipation, patience, understanding how the guys in front of me are blocking for me. So now passing that down, and obviously I worked with AJ in Toronto a little bit, and just showing him how I was successful. But now having my full claws on a day-to-day basis. And working with the rest of the guys, they're showing well, and they're picking it up, and our run game has been really successful, due to it. So I'm really excited for the body of work we put in so far, and I'm really excited for the rest of the season as we progress here.
Andrew, having been a player just a couple of years ago, was there a point late in your career that you really knew that you wanted to become a coach, or was it something that just kind of came to you as your playing days kind of came to an end?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely not. I did. As soon as I was kind of at the end of my career, I wanted to step away from football, as far as possible. You just put so much into it, so much film. It was to a point where I couldn't really watch football anymore. You just kind of get sick of it. But then you get into I was in the corporate world. I was doing sales in Ontario, and a couple hours of my day, I'd be like, oh man, this ain't it for me. You're doing well and financially and all that, but overall, you're coming home every day, or if I was working from home office, I'd be finding ways to hide and get away from it. Where football just comes so naturally, it was weird timing too. I was kind of just going through this transition. I got my contract renewed for the company I was working for, or extended, and was looking at we had two young boys here. Me and my partner, and we were kind of missing family, and so we were actually moving back to Winnipeg. The plan was to move back, and then Corey messaged me and said, hey, do you want to give this coaching thing a shot? And honestly, I wasn't really missing football until the playoffs started last year. And that's when I started to get that itch again, and said, that's when things really got geared up. And but I was watching way more football than I had, while I wasn't playing, and away from it. And that's really what was this deciding factor to me, saying, hey, I missed this game. I got a lot to offer to it. And again, just from the student part of being, a player, and even my last year and a half, I was really like a player's coach out there. I had no business playing anymore when you get old and dusty, right? So that feeling when you can see things, you want to do things, but your body just can't get there as fast or as prominent as you used to, and that's when it walks away. But yeah, it's time to walk away. But for myself, helping the guys out and being that player coach was really a good indicator for me that coaching could be an option for me.
I thought maybe you were going to say that the sales gig that you were in, they raised your quota, and then the new sales manager came in. It's like, always be closing. Come on, Andrew, you got to roll. We got to do some more role playing. We got to do some role playing. Hey, I'm in sales too. It's annoying. Sorry.
Hey, has there been anything in the transition that surprised you from the coaching side? You talk to lots of guys that come in and, they get surprised by the extra video work. You're not only preparing for yourself now as a player, you're preparing for everyone that kind of falls under your watch there. So has there been anything in that transition that's kind of surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different on the other side of the fence. Just the preparation. I mean, again, I always watched lots of film as a player. I always studied, the guys I was going against heavily, just their tendencies, how they tackle, how they wrap, do they have false steps at linebackers, how the ends play in the run game, all those type of things. But, the big thing for me was honestly the cards, drawing up the cards week to week. We get bombarded with at the end of a work day. I just finished my cards actually just now here in the office, and that's the big thing. After you're on the field, you have meetings in the morning, on the field all day. You have meetings after, then we have a coaches meeting, and then now you gotta draw cards. So that was the hard part for me, is just locking in that way. And then the other side of it is just the game plan day. It's a long day, right? And you'll sit there and go over a play for an hour, and then we'll end up cutting it anyway. So it's like, okay, what are we doing here? So the hours are long, but honestly, it flies by. And it helps to have a great group of guys you work with. So, between Mark and Quay and Josh Daniels and then Edwin Harrison on the offense, it's great to have a good workflow and good guys you're working with, because it makes the day go a lot smoother. And, you're overall going home a happy man. And, usually I'm home for supper, which is great.
Awesome. There's people driving right now or watching. They're like, what is cutting cards? Andrew, you got to explain to us what's cutting cards.
Yeah, so basically we'll drop on offense or defense, right, or special teams. You're basically drawing up cards for the scout team to replicate, right? So we'll look at a defense, and what their tendencies are, and their blitzes and things that they're doing. So we have to basically draw those cards from film, so that the scout defense, scout offense can go and execute it. So we have look teams to run against. So we do some stuff against our defense, which is, our compete periods and stuff, but you got to be able to practice what you're going to be seeing on game day. So that's exactly what it is. Just gives an opportunity for us to see what the defense is doing, and then rep, what's going to work, what's not going to work, and have an idea of, getting a game day look throughout the week.
Yeah. How has Kadeem Carey embraced his role? We've only seen him once, right? With the ratio and everything. We could see him this weekend. I predict we will. How has he embraced things?
Yeah, Kadeem's great. I mean, I went to Toronto's training camp last year as a guest coach, and got to work with him a bit there. Kadeem's obviously an explosive guy. He's been a 1,000-yard rusher, an all-star. He's won championships, and he's got a high pedigree. Always a concern when you have a guy that comes in with that kind of status of how is he going to accept his role. But he's been seamless and coming in and working with the guys and, doing scout team stuff. And, but you obviously know he's going to be hungry to get out there and make some plays and get back to doing what he's doing. But, for him now he's been fitting in great, and, just working with him, like he runs so wild, and, he runs a certain type of way. So I'm really excited to work with him and help him slow himself down here. And cause after watching some cut-ups with him and showing him, a different way of kind of seeing things, he's really realizing he's leaving a lot of yards on the field. So that's my biggest thing is being the most efficient, and the most effective on every single run. It all comes down to averages and basically chewing out as much as you can out of every single play. And the big thing for us now is being consistent throughout a full 18-game season. Also being healthy, but when it comes down to the run game disciplines that we're implementing, it's a non-negotiable. We have to play this way because that's the way that we're seeing it as coaches, and it's the most successful that I know and that we all agree on as a coaching staff.
You talked about when you were playing, you weren't the quickest guy, right? But what are the crucial skills that a running back needs, maybe beyond speed, quickness? Is it awareness? Is it being that student of the game? What do you think those are?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, running backs have this stigma about being not the sharpest crayons in the box. So for us, it's thinking the game and seeing the game, and understanding, knowing the defense better than knows itself. So for myself, it's vision, anticipation, and you can get away with not being the fastest, quickest, strongest guy out there with all those attributes. So for us, for myself especially, I'm blessed to have two all-star caliber players, in the backfield that you have at the Arsenal now. So I mean, for them, if we can slow their game down a little bit and utilize that patience and see the game more, and you're seeing it with AJ and Tomas, the guys that have been on the ball. We've been real successful with it. So I'm really excited from the growth and understanding and how these guys are picking it up.
As a young coach as well, is the familiarity or that background with AJ, has that helped you a little bit as well? Having that familiarity with him, having his skill set that you're aware of, being able to watch him maybe potentially a little bit last year before stepping in, has that helped you with that coaching transition?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I mean, when I first met AJ, and he'll tell you this too, but he said to me, he's like, I wanted to hate you as a teammate coming in, and AJ was kind of slotted as a starter in Toronto before I got there. And I basically, took over that job, and I say, well, just hold your time here. Well, I'll teach you all I got, and your time will come. And that's exactly what happened. And, AJ's one of my, good buddies and a brother to me. Love the guy, which helps us because, I can talk to him a certain way, that I wouldn't maybe talk to other guys. And, even after he came short a couple of times 100 yards and, for lack of better words, I called him a wussy for not getting the 100 yards. And, and even after he hit 100, I said, okay, go get 150 now. I need to get 150. So, I called him something else after that as well. So, where I'm pushing for greatness for him every single rep, every single play. And, the way that our relationship has grown as teammates and now from, player to coach, coach to player, it's really blossomed. And I think the big thing is you got to trust your coach. You got to trust the guy that's, guiding you and leading you. And I think me and AJ, I'm not talking to anyone else, but our relationship is second to none, in my opinion. So it's great. It's going to grow and hopefully we can just keep climbing the ladder here and leveling up every game.
This coaching staff, and you've been around, you've played for a number of coaches, number of different organizations. This coaching staff, when Coach Mace came in last year and everybody sees it, it's like it seems like the boys, like the crew, right? It's not like, Wally Buono, amazing coach and all that, but it was kind of like, it's Wally, and then it was like Bill Belichick, right? It's Bill and then his guys. This coaching staff, they seem like boys. They like you guys hang out. You guys all seem like you're on the same wavelength. Have you ever seen a coaching staff like that? And in your years?
Yeah, I mean, I played for Wally. Love the man. I owe a lot to him. He's one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. And for me, playing with him in his era, it was definitely a dictatorship. It's his way or the highway. He'd always speak to you in riddles and you'd always be kind of left confused and motivated somehow. But yeah, I mean, playing for him and then going to play for O'Shea, which is more of a player coach and more of a younger generation. And with RD, very kind of similar to that, but there's a different kind of vibe here in Saskatchewan. Just even, going over to Mace's house, our kids are in similar ages and, we're hanging out for barbecues and birthday parties and stuff like that. So, for me, it's been a pleasant start to my coaching career, just knowing that, you're starting with a family. And not only that, I've played against these guys for years and been a player while they've been coaching, whether that's Ed was my running back coach in Toronto. Yeah. I was playing, against Corey and when he was in Calgary and I was in BC, and Josh Bell is a teammate. So the list goes on of guys you played with and played against. And, that definitely helps and bodes well as far as the continuity and the fellowship and the brotherhood that we have going on from the coaching staff as well.
You guys got to be competitive, though, as a coaching staff. Like I don't know if it's card games, if it's ping pong, or what you guys are playing. You guys got to be competitive. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we had a barbecue before training camp, and I got this little dice game, and there's a little bit of money getting thrown around. We had a good time. So
Nice.
A lot of people throwing stuff around. So that's what it's all about. You got to have fun while you're doing things, right?
Okay, a couple more here before I let you go. Andrew Harris joining us on the Coaches Show today. Your story, and I always thought about this back in the day, and I'm like, this guy is from Winnipeg. Like, he's tearing it up and all that. When you were a kid, did you have a favorite CFL player?
Yeah, I'm gonna hate to hear this, but it was Charles Roberts. He was my guy. But yeah, he was actually a big brother for one of the teammates on my team in high school. So, and he lived really close to me in Winnipeg when he was living there. So, I mean, it's much like Regina. It's just small circles and everyone kind of knows everyone. And, so he was around, and a funny story when I might have been 18, maybe not sure, but, I remember being at the Palomino Club, if anyone knows what that is. And, Charles is hanging out there with two Cougars, and I'm walking up at 17 or 18, whatever it was. And I said, I'm coming to take your job in a couple of years. And, it was pretty funny just to say that. And then, fill in that in Winnipeg for those few years and win some cups and do the damage I did. And, I think I might've just hung on for one more year just so I could pass him in yardage too. So there's a bit of an itch to play another year just so I could pass him, but, pretty cool stories and just running into him at a young age and, kind of crossing paths a bit when he got traded to BC and then I was moving on. So, the league is small. There's so many great stories and networks and people that you get to know and love. And he was one that really motivated me to, be the player that I was and, modeled my game a little bit after him as much as I could at any point in time.
That's a cool story. Kay, you have 4 Grey Cup rings, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how many the current organization you're working for has?
Oh man, I actually didn't know before I got here. I'd figured that they had 10 or something like that, and walking down the hall, I remember talking to I can't remember who it was, and I was like, we only have 4 Grey Cups here. What the hell's going on? So we're working on that. We're gonna knock the door down here and get 5, and but that's the goal. You got to take it one game at a time. But I mean, I'm really excited about this team and what we're building here, and there's something special over here. So I'm excited to be here. Andrew,
awesome stuff. Thanks for doing this. Some great sound bites there. I love it. The Palomino. Who doesn't know about the Palomino Club?
Yeah.
Right? It's down the road. Okay. Good luck this weekend. Again, thanks for doing this. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for this. Take care.
Thanks, Andrew.
Our running backs coach for our Saskatchewan Roughriders, Andrew Harris. It's still weird seeing him in that rider gear.
Yeah, that's he's great. That's the first time I've really had a chance to interact with him a little bit. He's great, very well spoken, great stories. That's a great one to end on there. And
I like when coaches are like, right?
Oh, for sure.
Majority too. Just shoot us the real.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But when you were working for the Riders, was there a coach that came in it was kind of weird that he was with our organization because there's so many and the league isn't huge, but it's like you associate these guys with other teams.
Yeah, none that I can think of with kind of we'll call it the relationship that was with the Rider fan base like Andrew Harris would have. I mean, obviously being such a key player for a huge rivalry, like he was in Winnipeg there for many years, and having the success he had every season, but specifically against the Riders and later in his career time in Winnipeg, they won a lot of big games at Mosaic Stadium, and he was a huge part of it. So I can't think of anyone that jumps off the page, but he'd have to be at the top of the list in kind of weirdness, if you will. But each year there's kind of those former players just because of the way the league is, and him even talking about it being a small league and small network, that there was always guys kind of in and out. But he would definitely lead the charge, but we're happy to have him on our side now.
No doubt. Great interview. Coach's Show, always brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Their new 40,000 square foot warehouse is now open in Regina, so if you need it, they have it. And the Roughrider Foundation 50/50, we talked about it. The early bird, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Get your tickets because you're in for the 50/50, and then you got a chance to win AC/DC in Scotland, flights, hotel, tickets, touring Edinburgh, to Loch Ness. I said Edinburgh or Loch Ness. It's touring Edinburgh to Loch Ness, a day trip in the Scottish Highlands. You can go get buckled. Check it out. Oh, great country. What month is this, too? It's going to be coming up. It'll be perfect.
You win that. It don't matter. You don't know when you're going to be in Edinburgh. You don't know when you're going to be in Loch Ness. Just get on the bus. Just get on the bus.
Just take a carry-on. I don't need a suitcase. It's a Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com and always on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Friday is game day as the Riders take on the Calgary Stampeders. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Duncan, Tegan Whitco's at 4. The pregame show's at 6. And kickoff with Luke Mullinder and I is at 7. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by UFA, Croft Electric, and Stars Lottery. Stream every moment of Rider football at sportscage.com.
It's the 92nd Moose Mountain Pro Rodeo in Kennedy, July 19th and 20th. Saturday, enjoy the parade at 3, rodeo at 6 with bull riding under the lights, and music by DJ Dale at 9 in the beer gardens. Start your Sunday with a pancake breakfast at 9, followed by cowboy church service at 11 and rodeo at 2. There'll also be trick riders and wild ponies following the rodeos. Bring your family for rodeo fun at the Moose Mountain Pro Rodeo in Kennedy, July 19th and 20th.
This is where we play. This is where we live. Extreme Hockey and Sport is where we shop when we need the gear for our game in our town. Hockey is in our blood as much as the prairies themselves. Extreme Hockey and Sport understands this. That's why they provide the Saskatchewan Stars of tomorrow only the best. Every level, any budget, expert fit. They're your local sit and fit hockey shop. Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, Regina's Hockey Shop.
Howdy, Wood Country Woody here. I've always thought that deck railings should be a little more than a way to keep yourself from falling into the hydrangeas. They should add style and class. They should be regal aluminum railings from Wood Country. These bad boys come with LED lighting options that allow you to change the color and the mood at the touch of a button and at the best price around. Regal aluminum railings from Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Wood-country.com.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 5050 is presented by ISC.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
It's good to be home.
Mom, what's for dinner? Can we get pizza?
Before Mom even had a chance to get annoyed, she recognized the good idea one of her kids actually had.
Not bad. Not bad.
After a long day when you don't feel like cooking, think Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
The Gleaner S9 Series combines are designed for farmers in the business of farming. A harvest is successful when a crop is harvested as quickly and efficiently as possible and produces a clean grain sample with little loss. The Gleaner combine offers levels of harvesting performance and efficiency other combines are unable to achieve. Simply put, Gleaner combines save more and cost less. See the Gleaner S9 at Nick's Service in Emerald Park or go to nickservice.com. The Gleaner S9, built with the farmer in mind.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
All right, Clutch Performer. I could not look any further to start than Don Hewitt. Filling in last week, 3 days, bye week. Oh, Don Hewitt, you're my Clutch Performer. Also throw out Team Saskatchewan at the 2025 Indigenous Cup football tournament. They won bronze. Laid a licking on Northwestern Ontario, 49-0 in the final. So I got a couple of Clutch Performers. For Nick's Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. RP's with me today, Ryan Pollock. Curtis has got things in the pocket there. And one thing that when you're on here, we've talked a lot because you coach junior hockey. You've been around junior hockey. You've been around hockey. You're friends with the Schultz family. You get it. We're going to talk hockey now for a bit on the cage, Sportscage. Is this NCAA with kids, athletes going from major, junior to NCAA. It started in Regina with Braxton Whitehead.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are still like, I don't get it. I don't really know. I don't think a lot of people really know where this ends and all that. Wayne Kosior has joined us a few times on the program. He's with us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, all the Greek food you like. Okay, Wayne, it's been a few months since we've had you on. Thanks for making time again. Ryan and I got a lot of questions here. But the one thing that we are seeing now, and I noticed it last week when I was on holidays, and what a holiday it was. But we're starting to see the youth sport hockey players now committing to NCAA programs.
Correct. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me on. Always good to chat with you guys. And yeah, it's been kind of a crazy time. I mean, if you don't like what's happening in the NCAA world today, just wait till tomorrow. It's going to change. And certainly the most recent change, as you cite, is the youth sports guys committing. And, this has been in the funnel for a long time. And, with the ones that we worked on, I mean, have been since, probably late January, February, kind of in those discussions. And then once the NCAA compliance period opens April 1st, it was shortly after that the majority of these youth sports commitments were actually made, but just not made public.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing there. So maybe you can clarify for us, too, that there's no transfer or wait out time. They'll be able to go and be active right away as part of this new agreement?
Correct, and it's all under the standard NCAA rules. Players have a 5-year academic clock, so to say. That still applies, right? So from the first time you enter school full-time, you have 5 years. And, of course, you have 4 years of eligibility. And there's a lot of just different interpretations of the rules of when you're playing youth sports. Does that count a year for a year, or is it different? And, we can get into some of the discussions, but end of the day, there's some general rules, I guess, and everybody is looking to kind of look for the gray areas that you can kind of beat the system, and some lawsuits pop up, and that's what's really happening.
I love the gray area.
Yeah,
let's find the loophole. Okay. So let's say Wayne, player has played 2 years for University of Regina, University of Saskatchewan, U of A, whatever. He's played 2 years. Now he's got an option to go play University of North Dakota. Wants him. He goes to the University of North Dakota. Does he now have 3 years of NCAA left?
No, it should be 2. If that player was in college before his 21st birthday or didn't play a junior game past his 21st birthday, because NCAA rules, you lose a year for that. But let's just say in theory he was did not play a junior game past his 21st birthday. It would be a year for a year. So if he played 2 years of youth sports, he'd have 2 years of NCAA left because there's 4 years of eligibility. Now, that said, there is examples of players that have played 4 years of OHL, the Ontario Hockey League, then played 4 years of youth sports and are signed to NCAA this year. So I just went against what I just said as the rules. But there's another caveat that comes up, and it's called the Diego Pavia ruling. And Diego was a quarterback. I think it was West Virginia, maybe. No, Vanderbilt is where he was a football player. And he was at what was called junior college, and so like a 2-year college. And so he argued that should not apply 1 year for 1 year because he had no opportunity to collect nil, name, image, likeness. And so that suit went through. And so my understanding is the player I cited from the OHL used that recent ruling to allow him to get another year of NCAA.
It's so interesting to me because growing up in the time that I did and then into the junior coaching world, the NCAA used to pride itself on no gray area. This is the rules. These are the standards right
that's
here.
A good point.
And now they've it feels like they've created a whole bunch of gray area with nil, with transfers, with this new ruling. In hockey specific, obviously lots of controversy in football and the way guys transfer and when and follow coaches and all that stuff. So I don't know if I have a question directly here, but it's interesting that it's created a lot of this gray.
What my question is now, and I don't even know if this has changed, but I'm probably people out there. NCAA, let's just go to, we're talking hockey, NCAA hockey now. What is the oldest a person could be playing NCAA hockey?
Well, counting the 21-year-old rule, because your clock starts at 21. 21. So it would be 26. So 5 years from 20, so 26. But I've also heard that there's some people challenging that ruling, the academic clock ruling. And I mean, to Ryan's point, ultimately what's driving all this is lawsuits. And so you guys would understand as well as me, football, basketball are the big revenue generators for NCAA. Some of these rulings have come through those sports and, been transferred to hockey. Yeah. But also there's been separate hockey lawsuits where, what I've been hearing through the grapevines is that the NCAA doesn't want to, lose a massive lawsuit in hockey and have it impact billions of dollars in football or something. Right. So they're being a little bit more flexible is what I understand in hockey, because for them, it's not the big money game.
So I think we'd all be on the same page in understanding that this is great opportunity for the player. I haven't heard anybody since this ruling has even rumored to it being confirmed to today that anyone out there thinks this isn't great for the individual player. But how do you feel about the impact of these junior leagues? I would have a hard time having anyone convince me that this is a good thing for the Western Hockey League when arguably, I'm not going to break it down, but arguably their best 10, 15 players have left to the NCAA. Now we see it at U Sport and teams like the U of S and the U of A that have been perennial powerhouses lose a chunk of good players, again, to great opportunity for the player. Now the trickle-down effect of Junior A, losing those guys up to Major Junior that were fringe guys, and that's just going to continue to trickle all the way down the system. So do you see a point where this levels out, or is this just the new era of the hockey world?
I think it's short-term pain for long-term gain would be my analysis. There's obviously going to be a lot of churn and chaos here. It has started since November 7th when this happened, and as advisors and agents, it's made it crazy for us. But ultimately, I think it's going to be good for the WHL too. I mean, obviously, short term, they're losing some of these big names. That's painful. But at the same time, they're gaining, big stars out of the BCHL and AJHL that would have never come to the WHL. So
or the American kids. The American kids, 100%,
right? 100%, Barney. And I think I seen a stat recently at the OHL. They drafted, I think, over double the normal number of Americans this year in their OHL draft. So they're now going after those high-end players because everybody wants to come up to the CHL now. So those American hockey players are going to fill those spots. I think the people, it impacts most in the short term, it might be players that are, maybe that 2004, 2005 age group that were in the BCHL, had commitments to the NCAA, now are getting pushed back or bumped. Yeah. And I think, that's what I was putting some analysis online that, sure, we see all these WHL players, CHL players going to U Sports. That has an impact because somebody's getting bumped. Mm-hmm. Now, I've always kind of joked with my clients is that, nobody ever announces their decommitment on Twitter, right? But it happens all the time. And so, it's interesting to look and see what players are getting bumped. And I'm sure you've seen the big news out of, Nebraska, Omaha, bringing in 15 new players. Well, there's a ton of players that were, either decommitted themselves or the team kind of said, hey, go look for a new team because you're not going to be here next year. So massive turmoil. And I think the biggest impact has been on, Junior A players. So BCHL players, a few AJ players, some North American hockey players are the ones that are getting hurt most by that.
Yeah, and Omaha is one of those teams that's loading up, from what I see, on the little bit seasoned, let's call him, like is Trevor Wong?
Trevor Wong.
Right. Your boy, University of Saskatchewan. These guys have played Western Hockey League. Now they've gone and played CIS or U Sport against men, guys that have kids, and now they're going to go back and play NCAA. I see it. Omaha's going to have an experienced squad.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what it's come down to, Barney, is that, nobody was kind of expecting that decision really on November the 7th. And when it came, they're in the middle of the season, so they're busy running their teams. Nobody really had a lot of extra time to kind of give thought, okay, what's our strategy going forward on these new rules? And I think that's where Omaha, to give them credit, they basically said, hey, we're going all in on this strategy. Sent their guys out. You got to start scouring for Western Hockey League players, U Sports players, OHL players, and let's stack together a team of 22, 23, 24, 25-year-olds. And, it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's going to be a lot of press on that team because it's kind of going to be called the U Sports team. But there's also going to be pressure on those guys because in some way they're going to be expected to win. Because it's going to be kind of, the masters against the school kids. And to your point, there's a big difference between a 19-year-old playing in the Western League and a 24-year-old that's played some U Sports against men. And my best example, being from Saskatchewan, it was Trevor Wong. He destroyed the Western Hockey League. Next year he goes to U of S. He really struggled early, and I think Trevor would admit that, right? Because it's a big adjustment. You can't just fly by these guys now, and they just put their big trunk of an arm out and kind of stop you, and it's like, okay, this is over. So, and again, by the end of the season, he was doing unreal.
And then the rumor today is all over social media, and you and I were talking about it, is Gavin McKenna, and it's the Penn State again, and it hasn't been confirmed by him. And you brought up a good point, RP, which is a lot of this. You still need to have your grades. Mm-hmm. Still got a clearinghouse. Yeah, SAT's probably still in there at some point. So maybe it's for Gavin McKenna, he just doesn't have the scholastical ducks in a row.
It could be, and I don't personally know Gavin's situation, but I think that's another thing that has always been something of a misnomer where people said, if you're in WHL, you're dumb. NCAA smart. And in the old day, there was something to that. But, you look at some of these WHL kids, they're 90, 95% average students and tons of them. And so I think that's going to partly change how people think of, CHL players. They think, well, they're just stupid. The only reason they went that way is because they, can't do their ABCs or something. But there's a lot of scholastic kids in the WHL, CHL in whole.
Okay, my last question, though, is how does it work now? Because let's say Cole Reshny, Victoria, shout out Macklin, is he's committed to, is it UND? I think.
Yes.
He said he's going to.
Yes.
Now he gets drafted. NHL, who drafted? Oh, the Flames. So now, if the Flames sign him, can he still go NCAA? Or I understand he's got to go back and play junior.
Right. He wouldn't be able to go to the NHL and still play NCAA. So it's still kind of the thing. An NHL contract's going to eliminate you totally. But there's still ambiguity around East Coast Hockey League contracts, maybe even American Hockey League contracts, based on how long you played, how much you earned. Yeah, there's a lot of things. And you open a can of worms about the whole NHL, CHL agreement as it relates to NCAA players, right? Because an NCAA player, they have until he graduates from college to sign him. If you're a CHL player, they only got 2 years to sign you or you become a free agent. Yeah. So say it depends when you got drafted. Were you a CHL player when you got drafted or were you NCAA? And so they're working out some of those rules, same as the scholarship programs. There's lots of issues, right? So, let's look at the WHL. The kids earn a scholarship. They should still deserve payment of some sort, in my opinion. And we're talking to the WHL about this right now. But many of these kids are going on to NCAA schools where they're getting full rides and more. Because, they're getting nil money. They're getting Alston's funds. So they're putting money in their pocket. But, the argument is the kids still earn that money, right? It's not like he's on a pro contract. He's not. Yeah. And so I don't think the WHL is necessarily fighting this. they're just trying to figure it out. It's all just so new. They really don't know because nobody expected or anticipated. So there's nothing in the verbiage of the contracts to cover this.
I love it. I could sit here and talk about this all day, but we're getting Curtis, tell us we got a break. Wayne will have to do this. We'll maybe catch up again in August. So much to talk about. Thanks again for doing this.
Appreciate you guys having me anytime. Okay, take care, guys.
Right.
Thanks,
on.
Wayne.
It's Wayne Kosior from TrailBlazer Hockey. He's an advisor. That's a job for us in retirement here.
What, sitting around and talking hockey?
Let's go scout.
Yeah.
Advisors,
yeah.
Man, there's so many moving parts. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the nil thing too, with a number of people.
Yeah,
and it's like such a gray area because it's like hockey is here. We talk about, like Wayne said, football and basketball is where NCAA makes their cake.
There was a kid at the NHL draft. I'll remember his name later. They were doing an interview with him walking down the sidewalk, and they asked him about the nil money. And he laughed and he said, yeah, we see all the numbers that are being thrown around, and all of it's way over exaggerated. Yeah. He's like, some of the numbers that are being thrown, teams don't even have that much money for their entire program.
Yeah.
So what's true, what's not true? You hear guys getting $500,000, you hear guys getting $250,000.
It's like senior hockey.
Exactly. Turns out the guy's getting 50 and one stick a month, right? So
and he's putting in his own gas.
Exactly. So who knows? There's lots of this, but I love it just because I'd love talking hockey all day. That was awesome. Wayne did a great job of breaking down some stuff there, but a real interesting topic for sure.
It is the Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com. Your comments are always welcome on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Quick break. We come back. We're going to go with the ticker. It is a cage on 620 CKRM.
The Health Sciences Association of Saskatchewan is a union representing over 4,000 specialized healthcare professionals who work in a variety of professions, including speech-language pathologists, social workers, midwives, and music therapists. We work in hospitals, emergency services, communities, and long-term care. The services that Health Sciences members offer are diverse, but our priorities are the same. If you need us, HSAS professionals can help.
Hello, this is Joel Murkowski from Johnston's Grain. We've been paying attention to a lot of stories on the news here recently, and we're hearing that there's a lot of pest pressure in Western Canada, specifically gophers this time of year. We do carry a product called zinc phosphide oat bait. This product's been studied by the government of Saskatchewan through their entomologist, James Tansey, and has been proven to be very, very effective. If anybody's interested in picking up this product, we carry it at all of our locations, and we can deliver it right to the farm. We sell this product, Burrow Oat Bait. If you're interested, please give us a call at 844-324-7778 and take care of a major problem on your farm.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50/50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50/50 is presented by ISC.
It's time to upgrade to Kloss during the Kloss limited inventory sale. Now through June 30th. Get 0% financing for 60 months on select Kloss Axion tractors, or 3.99% financing for 60 months on select Arion tractors. With superior performance, industry-leading support, and unbeatable long-term ROI. It's a deal that's made for more on a tractor that's made for you. Ask your Kloss dealer about the limited inventory sale or visit kloss.com. Kloss, made for more.
Ag in Motion is a celebration for Saskatchewan's ag industry. When we get into the field, farmers are invited to get behind the wheel in our Ride and Drive Equipment Demonstrations program for the newest machinery for your farm. Join us near Langham, Saskatchewan, July 15th to 17th. Get your tickets online at aginmotion.ca. Join us near Langham, Saskatchewan, only on Tuesday, July 15th. Get your tickets online at aginmotion.ca.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by
Extreme Hockey and Sport, Regina's locally owned one-stop hockey shop, proudly serving and supporting the community we live in.
It's It's the Sports Ticker. Riders back on the practice field today. Trevon Tate looks like a long-term injury. He was in a sling. Thomas Bertrand-Houdon did not participate in practice today. Sam Emelis, he was there. Is he going to be returning to action? Did not take first-team reps today. Also, news, the Riders re-signed Nick Jones, offensive lineman, today as well. WCBL today, Regina is traveling into Weyburn. Saskatoon hosts Moose Jaw. Toronto Blue Jays, the first in the AL East, playing Chicago, the White Sox, tonight. And in the SJHL, the northmost division in the SJ has a new handle. It'll be known as the UPL division. It'll be home to the Flin Flon Bombers, the L'Orange Ice Wolves, Melfort Mustangs, and Nipawin Hawks. That is your Sports Ticker in Hour 2. For our friends at Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina, whatever your summer or spring or fall sport is, Extreme Hockey and Sport can hook you up. Right now they have I don't know if you know this, RP, but it's the Bauer Flylight gear. Oh. All the kids are talking about it. They have it. Extreme Hockey, Donnie and the crew down there.
Go and see him. He'll hook you up, give you all the right fitting, all the right sizes you need.
Local. Extreme Hockey and Sport. Hour 3 is going to start with Darian Durant. It is The Cage, streaming at sportscage.com.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. One full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
2S Auctioneer's summer equipment sale is open for bidding and closes Tuesday, July the 8th at 6 p.m. Single-use sea containers, livestock panels, Massey compact tractor, Vermeer baler, hay binds, Patriot sprayer, 3-point hitch equipment, lawnmowers, harvesting, haying items, and more. Come for lunch on us that day and view all of the items that are being added daily. Register and bid at 2sauctioneers.highbid.com. That's the pre-harvest equipment sale at 2sauctioneers.ca in Indian Head.
Hello, this is Joel Murkowski from Johnston's Grain. We've been paying attention to a lot of stories on the news here recently, and we're hearing that there's a lot of pest pressure in Western Canada, specifically gophers this time of year. We do carry a product called zinc phosphide oat bait. This product's been studied by the government of Saskatchewan through their entomologist, James Tansey, and has been proven to be very, very effective. If anybody's interested in picking up this product, we carry it at all of our locations, and we can deliver it right to the farm. We sell this product, Burrow Oat Bait. If you're interested, please give us a call at 844-324-7778 and take care of a major problem on your farm.
Saddle up, Rider Nation. The Back 40 Bash presented by Young's Equipment hits Mosaic Stadium on July 11th at 7 p.m. when the Roughriders face the Stampeders. The fun starts at 4 p.m. with the Coors Light Party in the Park and continues with the Honky Tonk halftime performance from Saskatchewan's own Justin LaBrache. The Western Division is heating up and we're bringing the intensity with the return of our Rider Nation alternate uniforms. The perfect look for a matchup like this. So gear up in green and get ready for game day. Wrangle your tickets at riderville.com.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. Don't just hang a door, install a Steelcraft. Turn curb appeal into curb envy.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Steel-craft.ca.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it. I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
This summer, if you're thinking of a new building, think Olympic Buildings. They're engineered from top to bottom to be better than the rest. Strength, solid design, and impressive good looks are all standard on an Olympic farm building. Visit olympic-buildings.ca.
The 620 CKRM Country Corner is brought to you by Glasses TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer, and Foster's Audio Video in Carlisle. Get the newest cell phone today with an amazing SaskTel rate plan.
The countdown is on to the party of the summer with Country Thunder Saskatchewan this weekend at Craven. Jason Aldean Friday night, Bailey Zimmerman Saturday, Def Leppard on Sunday, and so many more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets and camping at countrythunder.com. The Creelman Fair is coming up next Saturday, July 19th. Parade, craft and trade show, horse and cattle shows, and much more. CreelmanEggSociety.ca. And the Moose Mountain Pro Rodeo in Kennedy is July 19th and 20th. Gloria Evans will be live on location Saturday. Parade at 3, rodeo at 6, followed by DJ Dale in the Beer Gardens at 9. Sunday, pancake breakfast at 9, trick riders and wild ponies after the rodeo.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com. This is 620 CKRM Regina, the voice of Saskatchewan, a Harvard media station, streaming everywhere at 620ckrm.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. The Saskatchewan Health Authority and Medical Association are teaming up to tackle workplace problems in Regina hospitals. A new report by 2 outside medical experts looked at the work environment for doctors and made 14 suggestions for improvements. The SHA has already acted on some ideas, including leadership changes and new bylaws for staff. Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says better working conditions will help doctors and patients alike. The next steps include meetings with Regina doctors to plan what to do next. The Saskatchewan government is putting $20 million towards wildfire recovery. A new recovery task team, led by the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, will manage the work. The first focus is debris removal and site cleanup in places like Denair Beach and East Trout Lake. The money will come mainly through the Provincial Disaster Assistance Program. Help is available for those impacted between May 29th and June 26th or under a local emergency. Estevan police say a 53-year-old man is facing a charge for possession of child pornography. The man was arrested after an investigation with the Saskatchewan Internet Child Exploitation Unit. He was released on conditions by a justice of the peace and will appear in court on August 18th. Police say they can't release his name yet. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Canada's premiers are overselling the benefits of breaking down interprovincial trade barriers. That is according to a new report put out by the left-leaning think tank, the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. Senior economist Mark Lee says they should be moving on things like east-west electricity grids and high-speed rail instead, rather than chasing after what he thinks will be very minor economic gains.
Even if there are some minor gains to be made, it's nowhere close to the losses that we're seeing currently on Canada-U.S. trade. So it's not really a substitute for addressing the Trump tariffs.
The report comes after a flurry of news about provinces signing agreements to break down trade barriers and as the country's internal trade ministers meet in Quebec City this week to talk about the next steps. The White House has confirmed U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing back this week's deadline, new tariffs on countries around the world.
Ahead of a major deadline on Wednesday, the White House says President Trump is sending letters to dozens of world leaders, informing them he'll allow for several more weeks of trade negotiations, but will reimpose stiff tariffs if deals are not reached. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on the new tariff timeline.
The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st.
Asked if the delay is an acknowledgement that reaching trade deals is proving to be a challenge, Leavitt disagreed and said the administration wants the best deals for American workers. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
And haven't you heard? Bison is the word. Visitors to the Buffalo Pound Provincial Park can now check exactly where the bison herd is roaming. A new GPS tracking system shows the bison's location on a screen inside the visitor center. 14 bison wear GPS ear tags, helping park staff watch their health, study grazing patterns, and check if conservation efforts are working. The project, run by Ministries of Parks, Culture, Sport, and Agriculture, helps people connect with the herd and nature. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Let's get out on the water. Now is the best time of year to buy a boat or pontoon at Kevin's Marine. Cast a line in a Lund fishing boat. Take the family out on a Four Winds boat. Or head out on a pontoon by Harris or Crest. Powered by Mercury Motors at the lowest prices of the year. There are manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a great selection of boats and pontoons. Plus Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Kevin's Marine in Fort Qu'Appelle. Enjoy your summer. Get out on the water. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
Way to go, Travis Kelce. I mean, son.
As fun as it is watching your 5-year-old run the wrong way or pick dandelions on the football field, what if I told you you could watch your favorite sports or shows on the go anywhere? Well, you can with MaxStream TV from EchoSound, your SaskTel authorized dealer. Take MaxStream anywhere you go.
Oh, wrong way, buddy.
MaxStream and great internet plans available at EchoSound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Capel, echosound.ca.
Weather brought to you by Line X Regina, serious protection, killer looks. 1865 McCara Street. And Croft Electric, 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all your electrical needs. CroftElectric.com, and you can find them on all socials.
Down to 10 tonight with a clearing sky, and that extra cloud cover that comes in clears right back out, and for tomorrow we get to around 27 under a sunny sky. Dew point is, again, as I mentioned, not that high today. It's in the moderate range, low teens. Pretty much the same tomorrow, maybe a skosh higher on Wednesday, but the temperature up a good deal, so that little increase in humidity really is not going to be that impactful as far as how much of a humidex gets factored in. It's more the temperature than anything else, but it'll be up to 33 by Wednesday. Today is the only day really featuring the chance for any showers for the first half of the week. It's sunny and dry. I respect bright blue most of the time Tuesday and Wednesday, and generally light wind as well. Tuesday night may pick up just a little bit. Thursday, partly sunny sky. There is the chance for some showers, not so much during the day, but later Thursday night. Some showers roll in. We'll be at 24 for the high, and a better chance for showers lingers through the day Friday and Friday night too. Showers hold the temperature down at 22. In fact, might even drop off a little bit from an early high at 22 down into the upper teens. And then once those showers clear out, we climb right back up to above average temperatures for the weekend.
With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line X, make your truck complete. 1865 McCara Street.
Croft Electric. You've probably heard of us because we've been around for over 27 years. We do commercial and residential work? Yes. We do permanent holiday lighting? Yes. We do cabins? Yes. And farms? Yes and yes. We're an authorized Generac generator dealer. We are a full-service electrical company with the experience and the people to service all of your electrical needs. We are Croft Electric. We will be here when you need us. Do it right, do it once. Follow us on all social and call 306-586-1333 to book.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back, Hour 3. RP's with me, Ryan Pollock. Curtis is in the pocket today. Good show for Kellen Solar, the solar experts in Lumsden, Saskatchewan, whether it's the farm operation, home, whatever, livestock operation. That's the big thing that they do coming up here in the fall. We're going to play SaskTel Pick the Score in Hour 3. Curtis is going to be hot on the button there. He's going to pick somebody, 936-6262. Give us the score. Give us your prediction. Stamps Riders. Friday night, 7 p.m. kickoff at Mosaic Stadium. Someone's going to walk away with tickets to that game today, and then if you're the closest of everybody that entered, you win a $200 SaskTel gift card. Thanks to SaskTel for their sponsorship of Pick the Score. So 936-6262. Also, the Prairie Land Rentals text line from Power Tools, generators, welders, anything you need. You deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. Let us know your comments on the game this weekend, the CFL week last week. Did you hear my interview with Luke in hour one?
No, I was still working. Sorry.
We're gonna get to Darian.
Good radio. Yeah.
We're gonna get to Darian in a bit here because I'm gonna ask him, Luke. Right now, who's the better football team? Winnipeg or Calgary?
Yeah. So I caught the tail end of this driving in, but I'm going
your hard-earned money, you got to bet on.
Yeah. Well, so you're asking me two questions already. If you're asking me who's better, I'm saying Calgary because Calgary just blasted them. But then I heard your question as you were coming in saying if it meant everything, if it's a one game, it's down to the end, who are you picking? I still think Winnipeg is still that team until proven otherwise. Their culture showing us they're the most prepared team in the league. They don't typically beat themselves. So was this a bump in the road for them?
So the recency bias is...
Yep. And that's what power rankings are. Really, that's how I always view them week in and week out. It's if you win, you go up. If you lose, you go down. And if you're on the bye week, you probably just stay somewhat neutral.
I think Winnipeg's a better football team. Right now, I could be proved wrong. Now, Friday, Calgary comes in here, lays it on us. Change.
Well, Calgary's only loss this season is a game that should be thrown out the window. Absolute torrential downpour.
But to Ottawa.
Yeah, it's a schoolyard game. It's complete. Everything goes out.
Hey, we've been on the side regionals last year. We've been on the side of a what?
That's
Your
right.
team's better. Doesn't matter. It's football.
100%.
One game. Let's get into it with Darian, and we'll ask him that question.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Jeez Louise. Prairie Land Rentals text line. We got Stampeder picks. We haven't seen this many people pick the score. The opposing team. All right, Darian, pose this to you. Thanks for hopping on today, as per usual. Who's the better football team, Winnipeg or Calgary?
That's tough. When you look at the history, if you're going by last year or the past of this Winnipeg football team, then you would say that. But if you just go by this weekend and when these two teams went head to head, and it just looked like Calgary was so much better than Winnipeg. Winnipeg couldn't do anything right. Of course, they completed a lot of passes, may have had more first downs in the stat column. But, when you look at the physicality of Calgary, the ability to detect what Winnipeg was doing on the defensive side of the football, you have to give that edge to Calgary. And I said it last week. I said, it's dangerous when you take a quarterback like Vernon Adams and match him with Dave Dickinson, and you give him a couple games to prepare for this Winnipeg team and this defense. VA is a different type of quarterback. He can stretch the field. You have to defend the entire field. You can't just jump on mid-level routes because he can beat you over the top. So it's dangerous when Dave Dickinson can get a quarterback like Vernon Adams that can stretch the field. So I would pick Calgary right now.
This isn't last year's Stampeders. They had a great offseason. I mean, obviously a key change at the quarterback position, which is vitally important in football, especially in the CFL. But this definitely isn't last year's version of the Stampeders.
For sure. And I'm looking at a guy like Derek Moncrief, who just looks so rejuvenated in that Calgary red. I mean, he's just flying all around the field. He's making plays. And, he just seems excited to be there. So you take the mixture of veteran leadership that Calgary has with the youth, and they're a completely different football team. I have to agree with you 100%, RP.
And even moving back to Sam for Creef. He'd spent a couple of years just playing, not just playing, but moving over to half and maybe covering a little bit less field. But for him to make that transition back to Sam in Calgary, he looks like he's got young legs and a lot of jump. Heck of a play this weekend on that pick six.
Absolutely.
Let's move over to our riders. And I don't know if you caught this, Darian, from earlier, but Jordan Williams fined for the hit on Trevor Harris in the Toronto game. After the hit, of Del Duncan Busby on Kenneth George, low hit. It was Williams that said something to Harris. Now we're finding out that, in not so many words and not verbatim, but he said, "Hey, we're coming for you," and it was the next play, and it was that hit, and Harris was feeling it. Obviously, he sat out the next game. Obviously, as a guy that's been in the trenches, played quarterback and all that, you would have had guys trying the mental games with you. Hey, we're coming for you. Maybe it was after one of your players got hit, got hurt, whatever. In this one though, it happens the next play. Are we making too much of this? Is this, on the dirty scale? Where are you seeing this one?
Man, I would put it at about a 7. That retaliation is just a part of the game. I mean, you try to do it as legally as possible, but it's just a part of the game. And unfortunately, Trevor was in the way when the train was going down the track. So it's a part of the game. Of course, it was dirty. We all know that. And he deserved the fine that he received. But this is just not out of pocket. It happens. Retaliation happens all the time. So, you just have to deal with it.
Do you remember a time when you were on the wrong end of a retaliation hit?
I mean, when have I not been? I mean, there have been, teams were just frustrated with us because, we moved the ball. We didn't have the biggest, fastest receivers, and we seemed to be able to just move the ball up and down the field on everyone. So frustration sets in. It's just a part of the game. And like I said, most guys understand that it's done in between the whistles and in a legal way, but this hit, it was just a little bit late, and because Trevor felt it and was out the next week, then we kind of put a bright light on it.
Doubles, in going back to your playing days, do you feel that people overstate or overvalue the timing of bye weeks? It feels like everything's going right for the Riders right now. Are you a believer at times that you want that train to get going or keep going? Can it come at a bad time? Or is it just part of the schedule, just like you play who you play and your bye weeks are where your bye weeks are, so you just take them and stay as prepared as possible?
I mean, I think both things can be true. I mean, when you have some momentum, of course you want to keep playing. You want to, especially if you have another home game lined up. You want to be able to feel the crowd's excitement for your winning. But at the same time, if you have a key injury or two, like the Riders do, this came at a perfect time. You can get your quarterback rested for a couple weeks. Huge game at home. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think being able to get Trevor back this week with 2 weeks to rest up is huge, especially in a Western game at home.
Probably not a good sign. Samuel Amelis didn't take first team reps today. He was out for almost 2 weeks before the bye week. Probably not a great sign that he comes back Monday and he's still not taking first team reps.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how tomorrow goes, but it's not a good sign, especially coming off a bye. That means that during the bye, he wasn't able to do too much as far as running and getting himself back on track. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. But look, the young receivers have been doing well in his absence, and this will just give them some more experience and some more opportunities to go out and show what they can do.
We talked to Andrew Harris earlier in the show here. A longtime rival of the Riders, now running backs coach. Obviously, you've seen the success A.J. Ouellette's had, Thomas the Train has had, and now them adding Kadeem Carey as well to the fold. As a quarterback, when you see the success of the running game, is there a boost in your own confidence, knowing that there could be some focus there and it may open up the passing game? How can a strong running game kind of influence the role of the quarterback there, Doubles?
Oh my goodness, 100%, man. I mean, you just go back to the Wes Cates and Corey Sheets years. Those were my best years by far. And what you get is predictability on the defensive end. You get to go with the defensive tendencies. You know that they have to stuff the box to stop the run, and it gives you the one-on-one matchups on the outside that you just hope for as a quarterback. No quarterback wants to sit back and go against zone coverage all game. You love it when the DBs come closer to the box. They have to defend the run. And that's when you get your opportunities to go up top. So having that run game now, and I mean, you have to give Andrew Harris a ton of credit just because of him. You know, I think the Riders believe in that offensive run game a little bit more. And, you know, they come to him, they ask him, what is he like? What are these guys good at? Whenever you have a former player as a position coach, the coaches can now go to him and say, you know, what are the strengths of the guys you have in the room? And I think they've done a good job of playing to Olette's strength and giving him opportunities, and you can see what he's doing with them.
Luke talked about he thinks that league-wide this year we're seeing elevated play on the offensive line. I feel in Riderville here, and I know we talk about the injuries and the injuries we've had, I think we're downplaying how good of a job our offensive line is doing.
Absolutely. These guys have been tremendous. I mean, whenever you're not hearing anything about sacks and the running backs are gashing the defensive linemen and linebackers, then that's all credit to the offensive line. And like Luke said, it's going on all across the league. You saw the big runs that Rankin had yesterday and you know, Mills with Calgary and you know, you just see it across the league. So the offensive lines, they've been healthy for the most part, and they're doing a great job of opening up holes for these running backs. And I just think that whenever these offensive coordinators see an opportunity to run the ball, it could be 2nd and 4, that you can see them turning around and handing it off and just have that faith that they'll get the first down.
Switching gears out of Riderville here for a minute, I wanted to ask you a little bit about yesterday's game in Edmonton. Trey Ford comes out for a series. Everything I've heard, no injury, nothing related to it. But he comes out for a series in the second quarter after throwing 2 touchdown passes. Obviously looked like it must be a planned or timed series for him just to take off. Again, from your perspective as a quarterback, what do you see from that? Is it good for a guy that we still refer to as young and developing to come out and maybe just have a view of things from the sidelines for a series? Or when he's snapping him off like he was in the first quarter, would you like to just see him roll in and continue to build that confidence?
You know, whenever you're hot, there's no way you want to come out of the game. And, you know, even though this was a predetermined situation, I'm sure that Coach Killam could have went to Cody and said, you know what, Trey's rolling, you know, we got to keep him in there. But, you know, whenever you let a guy know that he's going to see some playing time as a coach, you kind of don't want to backtrack on that. So I think that, you know, he went to Cody earlier in the week and said, we're going to give you some reps. And when you're 0-3, sometimes you have to, you know, light a fire behind your guy and whatever it takes. And I think that even in the locker room, those guys, even though it may be just a few, some guys may look at Cody as a guy who could possibly lead them to the promised land. Even though Trey's young, he's athletic, he shows flashes of brilliance at times. You know, Cody's a guy who's a Grey Cup champion who's been there and done that. So at the end of the day, you always want to do what's best for the team. But as a quarterback and you're rolling and you're hot and you're going, I mean, it could be the biggest day of your career. Of course, you don't want to come out. So you don't like to see that, but I understand. And, you know, that's just part of the game.
Cody went 4 for 29 yards. I didn't watch the game, but I got a feeling that he was going to see some action at some point here momentarily. How big is that win for the Edmonton Elks organization?
Oh my gosh! If that wasn't a must win, then I don't know what was. I mean, you're playing against a team like Ottawa, who many would say would be at the bottom of the league statistically and in the standings. So you're at home, you're expected to win that game. So that was huge for this Edmonton franchise. And you know, you never want to see Commonwealth Stadium empty. From what I'm used to is 30, 40, 50,000 fans at each game. And you hate to see it like that. So it's just a big morale booster for that entire organization.
That, I don't know, 30, 40,000, that's a lot of people.
We may be, long gone from those days, but, they needed this win to just get back on track, to even point in that direction.
Back to the Riders and Stamps here, because we won't talk to you before Friday, but he downplays it, and we heard from him in hour one, Mike Rose talking about playing his former team, and of course is the old athlete. No, it's not a big deal. It's not that. Tommy Stevens as well. There's something there, though, Darian, when you're up against your old mates, your old team, whether they released you, they cut you, they traded you, you signed somewhere else, you want to lay it on them.
Absolutely. I mean, look, they're your old team for a reason. Either they cut you or they didn't want to give you the money you felt like you deserved. There's a reason why they're your ex, right? So there's definitely some motivation there for on both sides. I mean, there's some former riders on the Stamp side as well. So this is going to be a great game. I'm so happy that both teams are pretty much at the top of their games right now, and it should be an exciting game on Friday night.
Give us a couple keys what you see for the Riders. Obviously, we touched on Vernon Adams. He's the the engine that'll drive them offensively. But what do you see out of this matchup? A couple things that Riders are really going to have to key on to have success against what we're all agreeing is a good Stamps football team, right, Barney?
Yeah, the best.
First and foremost, the Riders have to limit the big play. I think this Calgary team, with the receivers that they have and the ability that Vernon Adams has to stretch the field, you have to take away the big play. Make Vernon, take the 5, 7, 8 yard throws. Make him be accurate. I mean, if there's been any thing pointing to the downside of VA's game, it's just the consistency of hitting the underneath throws. So if I'm the Riders, and that's pretty much the Riders' MO on defense is to keep everything in front of them and make the quarterback beat you. So for VA, he just has to be consistent. And for the Riders, I think they just have to make sure they mix it up and be as balanced as they were the first 3 games of the season. Don't become predictable. Keep the game close. That way, you can let AJ Olette do what he does, get in some second and medium situations, and get some predictable coverage look from the Stampeders. So both teams are right on cue with what they're doing, and if everyone does what they're supposed to, this should be a great matchup.
So do Riders now, if we're game planning here, right? Do you like play three high, play 2 high? Do you blitz them? Do you spy them? What do you do to make them take the under and the short routes, and not letting them scramble out and hit something deep?
Well, first and foremost, it's about crowd noise, right? We need a mosaic that makes it tough on the opposing quarterbacks. We need, a couple false start penalties to put Calgary in 1st and 15, or some situations where they have to throw the ball. And then you have to mix up coverages. I don't think you can just sit back and do one thing. Mix it up, but don't be too aggressive, because the type of receivers, especially like a Dominique Rhymes, we have yet to see him explode down the field. But I don't think you want to leave him in one-on-one situations down the field and jump ball situations too many times. And that's not a good look for the Riders if they do that. So you can mix it up. Just be timely with your blitzes, and don't forget about the run blitzes as well. Like all blitzes aren't meant to just get after the quarterback. Some blitzes are for to protect every gap up front, to make sure that run game doesn't get going. So Calgary's run game is underrated as well. And if the Riders can just slow it down and keep VA in some second and long situations and make him take the underneath throws, then I think they're playing to their defensive strengths.
Okay, people like when you play SaskTel Pick the Score. We're getting people texting in here. What's Darian SaskTel Pick the Score Friday?
Oh man, this is a tough one for me. Everyone knows where my heart is. I'm a Rider through and through, but I've said it week after week. I'm just a huge VA fan, and I'm not a fan of what happened to him in BC. I think he's on a mission. I think he is the best quarterback in the league. So with that being said, I like the Stamps. I think it'll be close. I will go with a 31-28 Stamps win. I just think that Calgary with Dave Dickinson, game planning, and like I said, the strengths of VA, I think Calgary's a different football team.
Hey, you're allowed to pick who you want. I had a feeling. I had a sneaky
as long
suspicion.
as everyone knows where my heart is.
No, we do.
Look, but I'm just looking at just football and football only, and just this matchup. And I think I said it last week that rainy game in Calgary, I wouldn't even count that against the Ottawa Red Blacks. I think this Calgary football team is pretty damn good.
All right, doubles 31-28. I wrote it down here. Let's see how it shakes down. We'll catch up on Monday with you.
Sounds good.
Thanks, doubles. Nice
Take
chatting
care,
with you.
RP. Good to see you, man. Always.
Double Talk with Darian Durant on the cage, brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. Harassment in the workplace, it's a big one these days. A lot of companies don't know how to handle it correctly. If you do not, call Campbell Safety Consulting. 31-28. I'm going to have to get your prediction. By the way, and I look at the Prairieland Rentals text line. There's some weird scores coming in. 6-3. The weirdest one. Did you look at the forecast?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's the wind?
It's not 19-28. They can throw the ball. Yeah. An interesting one, though. 936-6262 if you want to get in. Break time on the cage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM.
Join Saskatchewan today at Ag in Motion near Langham, July 15th to 17th. Ryan Young and Doug Faulkner will bring you the very latest in the ag industry live from the show. Watch the stream and all of our latest content at saskagtoday.com. That's Ag in Motion, July 15th to 17th near Langham. Sponsored by McDougall Auctioneers, Johnston's Grain, Shorty Generators, and Prairie 6-inch Eaves Trough.
You don't go to Country Thunder to see your favorite artist. You go to Country Thunder to see all your favorite artists. Country Thunder Saskatchewan returns with Def Leppard, Jason Aldean, Bailey Zimmerman, plus Nate Smith, Tyler Hubbard, Kip Moore, Tim Hicks, and so many more. Guarantee your spot. Country Thunder Saskatchewan, July 10th to 13th in Craven. Tickets at countrythunder.com.
Sask Power is working to improve the power system in your area. In order to do their work safely, they need to shut the power off for customers on the east side of Fishing Lake First Nation from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday, July 8th, weather permitting. Again, the power will be out for 7 hours on Tuesday, July 8th from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. for customers on the east side of Fishing Lake First Nation. For updates on this outage, visit saskpower.com/outages.
When you're on the road, don't forget, Arcola Co-op is your home away from home. And they're now your liquor store away from home, too. Attached to the gas bar and convenience store is their 500-square-foot walk-in beer cooler, with a wide variety of wine and spirits, too. Heading to the lake or out camping, make Arcola Co-op your one-stop shop. Grab your beer, ice, fuel, snacks, and even hot chicken all in one place. Arcola Co-op, you're at home here.
Hey, let's hit up Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Pump? You talking about my basketball shoes?
No, Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Who?
Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. They're open now. They've got a large selection of local draft and food and drink specials. Kids are allowed until 8. There's live entertainment every weekend.
Let's go. I'm pumped.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Do you have a safety program or OHS committee? Call Campbell Safety. Harassment in the workplace? Call Campbell Safety. Don't know if you have a proper safety program? Call Campbell Safety. Once you have an injury, it's too late to have a safety program. Be proactive with Campbell Safety Consulting. They'll come out and customize your safety program and be that extra set of eyes you need. 35 years experience doing health and safety, and they have seen it all, and then some. Call them today and get a free consultation. Campbell Safety Consulting.
Hi, I'm Rob O'Connor, Show Director for Ag in Motion. I'm proud that our outdoor farm show is an annual celebration of Saskatchewan's agriculture industry. The show brings our community together for 3 days to share the best of livestock, machinery, crops, and technology. Everyone is welcome. Taking place near Langham, Saskatchewan, from July 15th to 17th. Go online to aginmotion.ca to get your tickets and learn what's in store this year.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
All right, Riders back on the practice field today. Some injuries to note. Trevon Tate in a sling. Coach Mace had this to say about his injury.
You know, it's definitely going to probably be a little bit for us. So we'll see, man. He's been through some injury history in his previous life, and I know his work ethic. So you don't want to rule anything out with that kid. So it's good.
Thomas Bertrand-Hudon also did not participate in practice. I can't see him playing personally. That's just me this week. And then Sam Emelis did not take first-team reps with the Riders today. WCBL, Regina traveling into Weyburn. Saskatoon hosting Moose Jaw. Toronto Blue Jays, first in the AL East, taking on the Chicago White Sox tonight. That is your sports ticker in hour 3-4. Steelcraft Doors of Regina, now into their new 40,000 square foot showroom and warehouse built for Canadians for Canadians. Never a good sign when I said in hour one when a guy's in a sling.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall there, obviously, for the short term or whatever, obviously with coach coming out and saying and acknowledging that as well. So that doesn't look good. But, even guys, I always found it interesting, even when I was working with the team coming out of bye week, that who could get on the field and who couldn't, right? And I think what some people on the outside are surprised by is you think everyone finishes the game, goes away on bye week, and then everyone should be back on the field, but it doesn't work that way. And, that's where they talk about the timing sometimes for byes are good. But if they were to play last weekend, obviously a lot of these guys that aren't practicing right now would very, very likely be out.
It was awesome timing for a bye. If you are a younger guy, American, to go home for the 4th.
Yeah.
Your college buddy or your hometown buddies, what I was thinking about that because I was down there for the 4th, and they are wacko for fireworks. We saw some stuff. My kids were like, should he be doing that? No, they should not. They are they're fanatic. But I was thinking, man, there's a lot of riders that this bye came on a great time for them to go and hang out with family and yada yada, all that, but to just let loose for the 4th, have some fun. But to your point, and I said it in hour one, if you come back and a guy like Sam Emelis, where we thought that, what was it? Maybe a Charlie horse, he injured, then he went back in, and then they took him out, and it's now we're 3+ weeks here, and he's not taking first team reps. I guess it's only Monday, but it's a Monday after a bye.
Yeah, no doubt, exactly. And each day that passes with him already being out previously is obviously makes it closer to him being more and more out. And the funny thing about buys too have really changed over the years. When they kind of first came into the league, guys were a little bit more unsure of buys. You'd finish the game and then everyone would look around and go, what are we doing? Are we going to Echo for a couple days? Maybe we're going to fish a little bit.
So that's what Luke said.
We're going to get away. But now so many of them are built right into schedules and itineraries. I know when I was around the game, they'd be built right in from day one saying, we will play. If we're on the road, we arrive back in Saskatchewan at this time. The next day you are free and you don't need to be back until this date.
Yeah.
So guys can build in travel and plan those things, like you say, and be able to get home, see family, things like that. And
if they were playing, let's say hypothetically, playing in Toronto or BC, two big, Calgary, even. Every airport's big except for ours in Regina and Saskatoon. But if you're playing in one of those centers, and let's say your bye week is the next week, did they let a guy scram straight from there?
100%. In fact, I think we had one in Toronto, and we lost about 15 to 20 guys right from there. It makes the most sense. Like you say, just hop right, whether they're Ontario guys staying home or whether they were some guys in the U.S. that were hopping flights down south to go home. So, that happens, and that's what I mean. Guys are much more committed to it now in the sense of on the schedule, coaching staffs and that. It's not the same that you're going to spring an extra practice on them the next day, based maybe on the night's performance.
And we're in similar demographics here, and I think a lot of people driving out there, but this was staggering. The first time since 1999 when Gail St. Clair from Edmonton won it, that we had the $1 million touchdown to win, 2 kick returns in the same game. A fella by the name of Roy Leister. He won it.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe we've been watching this game. Like, it was Safeways forever.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that's when it started. Like, I want to say it's gone through a few supermarkets. Like, I don't know if OK Economy was ever in the...
I think Buy-Right had it for a couple of years
Dominion. But since 99, like, it's crazy. I was like, that's a long time ago.
So absolutely awesome. And watching the game, it's one of those things that's built into the CFL game that you just kind of hear and you don't really pay attention to. But it is surprising that it hasn't happened in a league where there is lots of returns, and lots of individuals that had lots of returns that someone couldn't spring one twice. But I go back to not too long ago, we'll call it 2015, that there was a kick return scored, and then a second one scored, and it was a called back.
Curtis had that.
Yeah, called back, and it was a complete flop, and it was called a penalty, and then they show the replay, and it was a complete flop of a penalty. And I think it was Mike, I'm going to throw out a name, I think it was Mike Miller on the flop that felt 2 hands touch him in the back and went down like he got taken out, and that cost a lady the $1 million. So
what year? Do you remember the year, Curtis, that we were talking about that before the show?
Oh, that was 2017.
17?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember the flop, but I remember there was a penalty that called it back. And everybody, like, the joke, obviously, Daryl from Save On Foods, and you got to trust me, the insurance thing. That right. Promo's paid for itself. Yeah. They could give away 5 this year. The insurance company might not be happy, but they've had a lot of legs from that. Yeah, the old touchdown to win. 2 kick returns in one game. Yep. Okay, we Trevor Harris. What was your take on the cheap shot? And it happened right after. Heat of the game.
Yeah, totally. Heat of the game. Anyone that's played sport knows that sport is supposed to be based on emotion and intensity, and it's a deliberate act. There's no doubt. Seeing it. Knowing what happened just before it, and then hearing now that there was maybe some back and forth on the field, but it's too bad. Trevor gets knocked out of a game because of it. Hopefully he's back and feeling good now for this week, and great opportunity for Mayor to come in last week and get a W and show that there's some support there as well. But
I'm an eye for an eye guy.
Yeah, so, it's hard for me to sit here on a soapbox after playing hockey the way that I tried to play it and enjoyed playing it, and it was much based on emotion and that. But but it's tough. It's tough. You're in the heat of the battle, and I'm sure they're not out there to intentionally hurt each other, but you get into the game and want to knock a guy down, and sometimes it ends up resulting in something not as good.
I would love in the warm-ups for this is the hockey guys in us, to someone go by Jordan Williams and say, I promise I am going to low bridge you this game. Maybe from the side. It's coming out. Just get in his kitchen.
Yeah, be there early. What's that gate? What's that date of that game when they come here?
Oh, I got it right here. Let's go to Toronto, Saskatchewan.
It's late in the season.
It's the Thanksgiving game. Friday, October 10th. Little chill in the air. How are those knees,
That's right.
Jordan? How's that? You got the braces on tight tonight. But Trevor Harris, he is back. He's back in the practice field looking good. Here's what he sees from this Calgary defense.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't think anybody scored a touchdown in the first 3 quarters on this defense. They make things very difficult on you because the best defenses they don't do 65 different coverages. They play what they play and they get really, really good at it and they make things difficult for you. And so to some degree you know what you're going to get, but we also know that they're going to give us looks that we haven't seen before. They're going to keep us guessing and show us a few things that they haven't shown yet this year. And this is pro football, and so we're going to do the same thing. But we're excited about the challenge. They bring a great challenge to us, but we think we bring a great challenge to them as well.
Interesting that they don't play a lot of different looks, and they just play it hard and play it good. So to that, but he also talks about that Calgary put the league on notice now that they are 4-1.
They've got a great leader over there with Vernon. He's leading the troops, and he gets guys to believe in what they're doing. And he has an infectious belief. He's a great football player, a great leader, and I love that guy. And they have a great defense, and it's a scheme that is giving people trouble, and they're continuing to make plays. And 9 and 6 are really the key of their defense. Kreef, as we know very well, and Damon Webb are really good, and their defensive ends can really rush the passer. And so it's going to be on us to make sure we keep them off balance and try and exploit some of the things that they're doing. But we know that they're very, very good at what they do, and so we've got to be on our P's and Q's, rather.
I know. I was mistaken. They're 3-1, not 4-1. But man, is everybody? Maybe I'm in the minority. I'm not buying all this Calgary stock. Maybe I'll find out on Friday. Be eating my words.
Yeah, they got to come back it up. I think both. It's a little bit of a show me game for both teams this week. There's no doubt that's what the battle for the top should be. But to me, VA he's a high reward, kind of a high risk guy. So when things are going well, things are going really well. So from a rider standpoint, I think just building off of, obviously Darian uses the more technical terms, but if you can keep him kind of off balance and make him get out of his comfort zone and break up his rhythms, he's been known to make a few mistakes, and sometimes one interception then leads him to try and force it a little bit down the field, which can lead to some more. But he's a heck of a back when he starts throwing it around and feeling it. He's tough to beat,
and he's beaten the Riders before, right? And everybody wants to come in here and beat the Riders. So
I tell you what, the thing that's impressed me the most about the Riders so far and watching them is they can score in all 3 aspects of their game. Their offense has been solid. Their defense can hit takeaways and has shown that they can score. Then you got Mario Alford. At any time he catches a punt, catches a kickoff, he's a dangerous guy to break one at any given time. So they're so well balanced, so solid, and can hurt you in so many different ways. Which when they're rolling, they're really, really tough to beat. But the positive for me is if one of those areas are maybe as sharp or needs some time to kind of get going, that the other 2 aspects of the game are right there to help pick them up.
Do you feel a little bit, though, that we were 365 days ago or almost, whatever it was, we were kind of talking the same thing about them last year?
Yeah, totally. And I think this is, to their credit, I think they've gotten back to the top, and this is life at the top, right? You're slugging it out against teams that the expectation is you want to win and have to win each week. So you're in a first place battle this week, and then you go on and play next week, and you've got to keep it rolling to stay ahead of the team. And, Winnipeg gets back up on their feet, and Calgary keeps winning. And, around the league, Montreal, Davis Alexander comes back. So are they back up and at the top of the league? So this is what it's like. And, each week gets bigger and bigger and starts to paint more of the picture, and it all leads to this thing called Labor Day. That is always a huge turning point in the schedule, and it's a awesome part of the season. So it's great that they're out to a great start, and hopefully they can keep it rolling this week.
What do you think? Because we got Country Thunder starting. Starts Thursday night, but Friday night, Jason Aldean is the headliner Friday night. With Country Thunder going on in the Valley and a Rider home game, you're not a fan of them both being at the same time?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not. It's tough, and I know you just don't get to hand pick it all. It's unfortunate for the riders that they have to go up against it. Let's call a spade, especially at a time that they're fighting for eyeballs and fighting to get more people in the stadium. And a team that's coming in a first place game, and I don't know how many would-be Rider fans will end up out at Craven, but it seems like an unfortunate kind of competition against themselves, if you will, especially for our community that we don't get a lot of stuff through here, and this isn't a surprise. It's not like they just threw Craven on the schedule this year. So it's unfortunate. I get it. I understand that there's lots of different dates and stadium availabilities across the league and all that stuff. But to answer the question, I'm not a fan of it. In an ideal world, they wouldn't be at home this week.
Yeah, that's where I'm, and Darian talked about they need the crowd, and I'm sure Coach Mace and everyone there can talk about the crowd. And that is important. That used to be a big part of us stealing maybe a win here and there that we wouldn't get, and it was that. And let's call a spade a spade. It's like crowds have been sparse for whatever reason this year. On SaskTel pick the score. It's funny. Darian picks Stamps 31-28, and as soon as he does, we have a number of people texting in. Prairie Land Rentals text line 31-28 Riders the other way. So you can have pick your score at 936-6262 in the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Curtis is going to pick someone to win 2 tickets to the game on Friday, and then if you're one of the closest, or if you are the closest to, and the people that picked, you get a $200 SaskTel gift card as well. So some good news there. We're up against the clock here. We're going to come back and maybe talk a little bit of hockey, a little more football. It is the Sports Cage. Ryan Pollock's with me today. Curtis is in the pocket. We're streaming at sportscage.com.
Start counting the days. Country Thunder Saskatchewan is almost here with Jason Aldean, Def Leppard, and Bailey Zimmerman. You're the last thing that plus Nate Smith, Tyler Hubbard, Kip Moore, Tim Hicks, and many more. All your favorite artists together on one stage. Experience Country Thunder Saskatchewan in Craven, July 10th to 13th. Tickets at countrythunder.com.
0% financing at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Remember 2019 when you could find a vehicle and rates didn't make you cry? Well, it's kind of like that again. The inventory is here, the rates are low, and you've got tons of options. Durangos, Rams, Compasses, Cherokees, the gang's all here, and they're all at 0% financing OAC. Plus, Cash for Clunkers is back. That means a guaranteed $2,500 trade when you buy with us. 0% financing is back at Crestview Chrysler in Regina.
Most mornings, you're up before the sun. Stifling hot or well below freezing. Doesn't matter. There's work to do. Your land. You could walk it with your eyes closed. You've done good by it, and it's taking care of you. If it's time to sell your farm or ranch land, have Harry, Justin, and Devin on your side. They respect everything you put into your farm and want to help you get the most out of it. Shepherd Realty in Regina. Get the Shepherd family working for you every acre of the way. 352-1866. shepherdrealty.ca.
Looking for the perfect summer escape? Return to nature and leave the city behind at Baker's Bungalows in beautiful Waskesiu. Nestled in one of Canada's finest national parks, their cozy cabins come fully equipped with everything from linens to cookware, so you can relax, explore, and enjoy the sun and serenity. And this summer only, rent 2 nights and get the 3rd night free for any remaining dates from July through September 2025. Don't wait, book your peaceful getaway today by calling 1-855-GO-TO-LAKE.
As a farmer in Saskatchewan, you're always thinking about growing, but you also need to think about, well, growing. That's why Connexus launched the Ag Grow Fund. It's a program specifically designed to help farmers like you grow your ambitions, with discounted rates on new fixed-rate term loans and mortgages. There's up to $2 million in funding available, with no maximum age restrictions or application fees. So what do you say? Let's get growing. Visit connexus.ca/aggrowfund to learn more.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. From skid steers to tents to power tools, anything you need to rent for that summer job is at Prairie Land Rentals. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. This is Sportscage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. 620 CKRM.
Now they're coming fast and furious on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Riders. A lot of rider picks in this. Okay, let's go. Curtis, you said we haven't picked our scores yet. Do I got to do mine today? Because we can play this until Wednesday. We got to get our P score. Pick the score.
I'm checking the weather right now. That's what I was...
Maybe someone's on. The 6-3 pick, they're on to something.
No, I'm going the opposite way. I actually think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going 38-34 Riders.
38-34. So that's our P.
I think she's going to be a great game. Back and forth, tight.
I'm going to pick mine tomorrow. I'm going to sleep on it.
Friday night under the lights. It was always my favorite was the Friday night games were always. And when I was in the university section, being perfectly well behaved as a fan, and then with the team, any home game Friday night is just awesome.
What's the time allotment? 3 hours at 3 hours for a CFL game?
Yeah.
That they give?
Sure.
3 for you. So 7 o'clock kickoff. You get in an Uber or whatever. Jason Aldean doesn't hit the stage till 10:30 on Friday. That's what I'm doing. That's the game plan.
Yeah. I remember one year that they did have a home game during Craven, but we played at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was ideal. Played the home game 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
A bunch of the players came out that night and Gaynor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So you're going 38-34, eh? Do they have the lines up yet for the game? Because I looked this morning on the site that I frequent. They didn't even have CFL lines up yet. Oh yeah, there we go. Riders 5-point favorite. Riders -5. Stamps on the money line paying +178. So.
What are they,
value there?
What do they usually give them? The 3-point home? If it's tight, they'll give them the 3-point home.
2.5.
2.5.
Hey, I've never set a line. I just get sucked into them.
Set a line.
Total points. So you're thinking they're scoring 72 points. 51.5.
Yeah.
No, I'm hammering that over. Yeah. And what was the weather say? It's supposed to be nice.
Yeah, 24 degrees, and I don't get the wind forecast yet, but the new stadium, it's not. It blocks the wind, right?
Perfect night for football.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
And a big game Friday night under the bulbs. Yeah. I'm going to pick mine tomorrow. I think the Riders. It's a statement game.
I think so. Show me.
But to Darian's point, right? Like, you can't let them make those big plays. Just let them dink and dunk.
Yeah.
Let them dink and dunk. Their running game's probably a little bit underappreciated.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a match made in heaven for Calgary, though. VA likes to sling it, and you watch Dave Dickinson likes to come out in the first series of the game, and he will throw one downfield. He wants to right away. It is like that's his
play
way
action,
of setting the tone of the game, and to keep your guys honest that at any given time we're going to stretch it out. He likes to hit it right away.
There you go. Maybe I'll hit that. There's a big touchdown bet
bomb
early first quarter. Hey, thanks for coming in again. Next Monday?
You betcha. I'll be here. Sounds great.
So much fun. Curtis, heck of a job. I know you're off. Colson's back in there tomorrow. Good job, Curtis. And again, good job last week with the Professor, Don Hewitt. That's it for me. We're coming up tomorrow. A lot of different items on the docket tomorrow. Talk some local football, talk some local hockey. It is a Sports Cage. Thanks so much. We're streaming at sportscage.com and always on 620 CKRM.
Stay in the know about what's happening in Regina. Get the latest news and events delivered right to your inbox with the Regina Today newsletter. Whether you're looking for local happenings, must-visit spots, or the latest in local news, we've got you covered. Sign up today and get Regina's best stories all in one place. Text NEWS to 306-936-6262, and we'll send the link right to your phone. It's free, it's easy, and it's all about Regina. Sign up for the Regina Today newsletter from sasktoday.ca.
Don't miss the McDougall Auctioneers Unreserved Farm Sale for Gordon and Bev Wagner, closing July 15th at 12 noon, with last viewing day on July 10th. All equipment has been stored inside during the winter months when not in use. Included in this sale will be tractors, combines, sprayers, swathers, augers, air drills, wheel loaders, cat crawlers, trucks, and more. That's the McDougall Auctioneers Unreserved Farm Sale for Gordon and Bev Wagner, closing July 15th at 12 noon, with last viewing day on July 10th. For more information, visit McDougallAuction.com.
In the summertime when the weather is fine, you've got groceries on your mind. Your favorite